8 years of Battlegrounds bliss. Updates to several arcade modes. And a new Survivor Pass. All this and more as we dive into the Update 34.2 patch report. First up, we're celebrating 8 glorious years of Battle Royale mayhem. You'll find anniversary decorations across the various maps and on some of PUBG's most iconic objects and locations, including care packages, energy drinks, the plane, and various locations across Erangel. The starting island also features an 8th anniversary BaubleBot statue with special golden grenades to throw at it to see your name up in lights. We're even collaborating with M83 for a brand new BGM track for the anniversary. This milestone wouldn't be possible without your dedication throughout the years. So on behalf of the entire PUBG Battlegrounds team, thank you for 8 wonderfully chaotic years. And speaking of your dedication, thanks to your testing, we were able to make some meaningful adjustments to the aim punch settings following the Gunplay Labs aim punch we ran in January. We're now planning on a second round of Gunplay Labs in March to test the new settings, so stay tuned for details. Next up, the arcade is getting a couple of adjustments. Team Deathmatch has several new maps to enjoy, including Destin Arena, Vikendi Train Station, and Sanhok Camp Bravo. We've also adjusted map selection probabilities, added destruction to Sanhok, and changed up the spawn kit. For Intense Battle Royale, the layout of safe zones, supply drops, and vehicles are now random in all maps. The starting Molotov has been swapped to a frag grenade, a random LMG crate has been added, and we've activated destruction on Sanhok. For fans of custom matches, you can now bring in 100 people, up from the previous 24. Last but not least, we're reverting the max player count for Hot Drop back up to 64 players for even more intense action, while also slightly lowering the atom spawn rate. You can check out full details on all these changes in the patch notes. There's also a brand new Survivor Pass available to collect, as well as various bug fixes, so be sure to check out the patch notes for full details on everything. Update 34.2 is here. So put on your party hat, grab a golden grenade, and hit up the arcade. Happy 8th anniversary, PUBG fans. We'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
good one! Shuts down the Sonic Stream just like that. And one quick word to get more of them. Absolutely crazy moment.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Welcome to the PUBG Player Tour. Welcome to the first PUBG Player Cup. Welcome on in, everybody. My name is Cole. I am joined by the one and only Mark Power. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Enjoying your streams today. Enjoying getting ready, waiting for this to kick off because it's been on my mind for most of the day. Because it's the last day, unfortunately. It's the last 4 games these guys have got.
It's quick. It's fast. It's snappy, right? It's 4 games yesterday, 4 games today. And then we're going to see who gets the prize money, but also who is in the top 8, right? Because we are going to be sending some teams to the Super Cup. So that's something we'll talk about in a second, but that's what a lot of these teams will be playing for today. Even if you're not playing for the first spot anymore, maybe in the prize money, you can always just one big game can be enough to get you into top 8, right?
That's the big thing, right? Obviously, it's a best of 8, but we're looking for the top 8. So we've already done week number 1. We've done the best of 3s where the guys and girls out there, Ko, was able to sort of get points on the board and make themselves a qualified team to get through to the Players' Cup. This is where we're at, the Players' Cup. We've already done half of our games. We've got the other half today, and we're looking for those 2 things you mentioned. We're looking for the top 8. That's going to be going through to the Super Cup, but more importantly, we're also looking for our top 4 when it comes down to the money, because there is some cash prizes up for grabs.
Yeah. cash prizes, and then next week we're going to have more player scrims, right? We're going to have another player cup, and then we'll see the top 8 of each of these cups at the Super Cup. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be happening at the end of that week. So there's a whole lot of action coming your way, and there's a whole lot of tournaments for these guys to play, but there's also a whole lot of tournaments for you guys to play in chat. Those player scrims, the second block of green blobs there, that's what you can sign up for. We're playing the 31st, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of April, that is. And if you get into the top 6 there, you have a slot in the next player cup.
Yeah, it's all about getting points on the board, isn't it? Get your team in there, sign up. This is a gateway into more competitive PUBG. So if you're sitting at home, if you're a casual player, you like your rank. We know you're out there because we hit some big numbers, PUBG, of the amount of player base. So get yourself in. Go play with your mates. Get as many points as you can underneath the board. If you need to change players, you change players up. Anyway, as you go, you need to make sure you get yourself through to that top part of the Scrim leaderboard. Once you get through, you become a qualified team. The qualified team comes to what we have. There's a player cups, as Kyle said. We'll be back, obviously, with another set of teams. And obviously, more importantly, we'll have more invited teams coming back because you get another opportunity to get cash prizes. Week 1 plus week 2. We're going to be sending it through, though, towards a Super Cup. And eventually, we've got a few of those Master Cups in the season as well.
Yeah, and the Super Cups and the Master Cups, they're much bigger tournaments than this, right? This is basically, this is sort of a qualifying step. We have the gateway into the big tournaments, essentially, right? And the prize money is only escalating from there. The level of play is going to be escalating as well. But one thing that you touched on there, I think, is really important. You don't have to be the same roster for all these 4 scrims. And I think that's really nice, actually. I didn't think about that. I subbed in one of those scrims and I was like, don't you need like your full roster or something? And they were like, nah, you can sign up with whoever you want. And that's super good for people that don't have an established team and might have an established team, but not everybody is available 4 weeknights in a row, right? So makes it a whole lot easier for people to take part and should make it a whole lot easier for newer players to get into this.
Yeah, we'll get you some links into chat as well. So if you be on the challenger mode, just register up, make sure you've got your people, the members in your team, and then you just sign. Join, follow the instructions, get yourself in the lobby, and more importantly, make sure you start winning so you get yourself the points because you want to get to this stage where you start getting money. Get past this stage consistently enough, you're going to be going across those bigger events, and there are more money, there's more opportunities, and it's happening all year. This is the biggest thing. This is the first time we've seen actually a huge amount of events been put on, where actually, as I say, it's the gateway where you guys and girls can get involved to actually compete in these TPP events.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see who makes it out of today. Going to be interesting to see what new teams we're going to be seeing next week. But we've already had 4 games, Mark. We've had, I think, a good mix. Especially at the start, we saw some of these qualified teams pop off completely, and then towards the end, we saw VP and Navi kind of come back into it and say, "Hey, like, sure, you guys, we're ready for this, but we are still some of the biggest dogs in the region." And Navi especially, 43 points in first, and incredibly consistent across the games, Mark. They didn't really have a bad game. I think their worst game was 7 points, so super consistent.
And just to speak to that, look at the placement points and kills, right? They're give or take. You normally find teams do one or the other. We go to the other side, FaZe getting huge amounts of kills or 13 kills, but no placement points. And it is a very different game. And obviously, a lot of people in chat be talking about this, that it is the polar opposite. Navi obviously did come back swinging, that's why they're sitting in the top spot at the moment. But it's definitely worth noting, Kai, that these are not all our inviting teams. Yes, we have some sitting at the top here, but you like Slam G's, you've got your Geekheads, etc. That Fairy Tail, they've got their way through the qualifiers. They participate in the qualifiers as well to get through here. As I said, we are looking for a top 4 when it comes down to prize money, but we're also looking for that top 8 to be going through to the next stage. So there's kind of 2 things that chat needs to be watching out for. Let's say again, the top 4 for prize money, but the top 8 will be going through and punching their ticket.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing who gets close. I said basically in a top 8, everybody can make it into top 8, and you see there's a gap from 22 points to 5 points, 8th to 16th. So one good game for ADR or Eternal Fire, one game, one chicken dinner, and they're up there in the top 8. So it's entirely possible for everybody that's playing tonight to make it into that. And I'd say that's almost more important than the top 4 here. The top 4 is going to get the prize money, right? But yeah, like you said, top 8 makes it to the Super Cup, massively escalating prize pool there. And also more games in the best lobby, more practice. That's what everybody's aiming for.
I think you're right. You know, that's what we're going to say. We're going to say a top 4 is like the bonus prize, but the top 8, yeah, you as you're a player, you're coming in here. Yes, you might have already done 4 games, and if those if those games didn't go quite your way, especially if we're talking to some teams on this sort of right-hand side, you've got to kind of reset today. Look, you've got another opportunity. We play, obviously, each one of the maps once. We've got one Miramar, one Erangel, one Tego, one Rondo. And you've got to try and maximize. There'll be a map that the team, I think, will like a lot more. That's going to be one you're going to get mass amounts of points. But you've got to try and average your points out across all 4. If you do that, you find yourself on a level playing field like with a Na'Vi, 23 placement points, 20 kills. That's an impressive after 4 games. I do also want to highlight, obviously, some of these teams will be more used to playing a best of 6, so it's quite harder for them to get into the momentum, whereas actually some of these guys have come through just playing the scrims. So it's like, oh, okay, cool, like we're used to the best of 4 format, and we've had a bit more TPP. Obviously, everyone's now had 4 games underneath their belt, so that's slightly being misted a tiny, tiny bit. But I'm keen to see, actually, how do our partner teams, how do our pros continue to deal with the TPP as how things move? Because we saw some sneaky tricks from some of the players, didn't we? Especially from jumping out, bunny hopping their way out of smoke to get information, to standing on bonnets, to pre-firing as they come around the door. All things that I expect to be increased, to highlight, to have those skills harnessed a lot more.
Yeah. Just to translate for our non-UK viewers, a bonnet is the hood of a car. Yeah, yes. Just to make sure that we're taking everybody along here. But yeah, like you said, they're getting used to it. But also what you have to consider, and this is something I talk about every time when we play best of 6, and I'll talk about it even more if it's a best of 4, which we played yesterday, essentially, right? The more games get in, the more the variance of all these things that can happen in a game and all the circles that can happen in a game sort of get washed out, and the more the actual skill comes shining through. So today we should get a really good look at who's actually consistent. Can Na'Vi keep it up? Because if Na'Vi keeps this pace up, then I think they're absolutely gonna be first after tonight. But there's also teams that, like a Slam G yesterday, right? They got 23 points in one game, and then not nearly as consistent as some of these top teams in the rest of the games. So there's a lot of chances for these teams to fall off a bit, to slow down a bit, to maybe just get caught up by the rest of the lobby because everybody is getting more online. So it should be interesting to see how this flashes out today. It should give us a really good idea, as these are some of the top teams in the region, right? So we want to see who's doing well in these events for future events as well, because there's so many coming down the line, and we'll see a lot of familiar names there too.
Talk about familiar names. Killers, Nixie, obviously 11 kills, 80s on a 10 as well. Ferris, Sparrow, all a 9 apiece. Levante's on 9. So it is pretty evenly spread. We don't see really one team, I feel, running away with it. Yes, I know Navi's on the top there, but a whole solid 4 just kind of destroying the lobby. We're kind of seeing these sort of stars appearing in these individual groups, should we say. And I'm sort of keen. I'm interested to see how the rest of the teams develop. As I said, we've still got big names in there, names that we know and we've covered for quite some time. But there's obviously other names that also working their way up. So I'm keen to see. It is an open playing field. As I said, we still have 4 games to go before we have to kind of make a decision of that cutoff line. I think the closer we get towards that 4th game, it is actually going to maybe start to gap a little bit. I'd like to see game 1, game 2 co actually be quite tight, and actually we don't get that kind of split to start with. I'd actually prefer us to maybe keep it a bit chunked, but I'm a little bit worried if Na'Vi start popping off game number 1, they start hoovering those points, it's going to be difficult for the teams to kind of break away.
Yeah, we'll see. Also, it doesn't sound that exciting to say that somebody got 11 frags, right? But in 4 games, that is still kind of mental. That's still really cracked. And then we have something that we've seen so much for Twisted Minds in the past. We have them not doing super hot, but Example is still out there putting out 2 frags a game, right? He's still one of the top fraggers, even though the rest of the team wasn't really there. So interesting to see how that pans out for them. And again, I think we're gonna have 2 conversations going on at the same time with these 8 games. We're gonna talk about the top 4, who gets the prize money, and then it's gonna stay really, really close all the way towards the end. And with no doubt in my mind, there will be teams contesting for that top 8 in the last game of the tournament. So that's what these sort of shorter, faster tournaments bring, right? It stays exciting until the last game. So I'm excited to see who it's gonna be that's like fighting for their life in game number 8.
To be fair, it could be anyone at this point. As I said, obviously we only got best of 4. We're getting things ready. Everyone's getting loaded up into the play now. We are going to go to Miramar first off. We're ending things though on a rank. We've got a nice little mix of Tego and Rondo sitting in the middle. Early predictions for me, like, I never like to do it all the time, but I kind of feel like the Gaming Gladiator teams, they always kind of like the Miramar. I wouldn't mind the Na'Vi maybe going quite aggressive to start with as well, to see if they can maybe close this lobby out. But I don't know about from your side, Koei. I know you hate getting those predictions. You hate getting put on the spot. But come on, this is game number 1 of day 2, mate. Who do you think, if out of all these teams, is going to dub it?
If you're going to ask me for a name,
come on, give us one. Give us 2.
I'm going with Twists. All right, nobody's predicting them right now. Everybody's like, oh, they're terrible now. They're not Twists anymore. They're washed. You know, they're not even the best in Europe anymore. What's going on? Everybody forgot about them. I think that they're coming out with a bang here.
Yep, they will be coming out the bang as they leave the plane. They'll be heading towards that sort of power grid area now. Plane path though from this one is the north, east down towards a southwest. Let's go through pretty much the center of the map, and also the bigger maps. There's a lot of these teams just spread out. Don't see too much on the alt drops. Obviously, Ascends more now going towards that sort of water treatment area and going a little bit north of there as well. So they'll be happy. Got to be careful though, because FaZe taking one of the cars away. It'd be interesting to see, obviously, with them at cruise, do they try and play over? But that's all dependent really on their zone. No major hot drops. Keep an eye just on minus. I think it's more car stealing at this point.
There's a lot of car stealing though going on, so that's a little sus here. Project X and the Dodge around the Minas area. We had the Susset. They are very, very close to Fairy Tale, it is, around the Quick Math compound, south of Picado. That was a little dodgy as well. And then we have the old Stardust Bushido right next to Ascend. This is not just car stealing though, Mark. These guys are sticking around. Paidaro's now trying to get out. Acalypto's still looting at the top there. Bit of a dodgy start for either of these teams.
This is interesting. They are losing a car and now chasing down Project X. They'll go for the higher ground now, so they do wrap in. That is a slight split. They're over 2-2. Dodge does find himself sitting in the middle. Be cautious though. Like, I know he's got the helmet, he's got the vest, and you could potentially take a couple of shots. But it's a lot of open ground. If he gets caught, especially with some of the team from Project X on the west, seeing him rotate up, it's going to be very exposed. So I think he's made the right call, moving back to the safety. I hate to say it, the unpushables are called the unpushable for a reason. If these guys want to hunker down, they've got a bit of zone. It could be a bit of a longer fight. To continue waiting now, so the rest of the teams will work their way down. It's okay. I can keep covering. Koei just needs to go check a few bits and pieces. No, joking. He's just sort of something out very, very quickly. He's had a slight technical issue. Rest of the zone, as it looks, Na'Vi does sit themselves in the middle. Twisted Minds are in a really, really good spot, as Koei would like to get them to have the win. Gaming Gladiators, a little bit more to the north. Now, San Martin is their normal go-to spot. Interesting to see how far they go. Levante is having a quick look at Crazy Lou. On the other side of things, though, BB, well, they always drop from Monty. They do rotate their way back down, centralised zone. They're going to try to take those combines along the sort of road in between them and Fairy Tale, who got it caught up in quite a few early fights, especially in multiple events. VP, interesting, Blue Crux is quite far, and Lost Earns is their normal drop. 100 do drop sometimes towards the south, guys, but obviously they do play out a little bit further afield. Have to try and wait and see how that sort of plays out. Looks like we're going to get Ibby, who's after Shelby. Opt to grab the bike now, leave the car behind, and start rotating his way in towards zone. Pretty default zone though, guys, so don't expect too much early engagement. And don't forget, obviously, everyone, this is the TPP format. So a couple of things just to note when it comes down to how things from an observing point of view is if they are in a person. So when we click on a person, we see the fighting. If they are actually in FPP, like we're seeing with it extends now, he is driving in FPP. If he opts to go to TPP, just like that, then that definitely wasn't the observers, guys, I promise you. We see the player's view all the time. So at the moment, extends now is looking in TPP. He goes for FPP to park up, and we get to see him obviously bounce his way around. I think this is going to be interesting to see. As things sort of unfold, for me, as players get used to this, it's going to be more around actually finding the balance over both, finding the balance between TPP and FPP. And as I said the other day, I feel like we're going to, obviously we've got all these superstar FPP players in the lobby. We're going to get some superstar TPP players come through the scrims, and Hopefully we get consistent names signing up and coming through and making it through to the Cups. They're making their way through to the Masters, etc. And I wouldn't be too surprised for us to see kind of a hybrid of player, kind of a best of both worlds. One of those teams that actually done best of both worlds. Na'Vi actually looked pretty strong though when it came down to TPP. That's the kind of I was saying earlier. The consistency is there. Like, they got the placement points, they found the compounds, they were able to close out zones. They also, more importantly, got the third party action. They're able to get the kills and they're able to find what they needed to. Ekatoria a little bit further down. Bacado, guys have moved down towards kind of a south to southwest of Bacado's face. Roll in on the east. They are slightly split, so they do have to be cautious here. The rest of Na'Vi, though, further down the road, further towards that kind of Monty section. Ekatoria using the TPP to his advantage, looking back over to know the teams have played in. So for now, they will just continue to farm information. Ekatoria actually goes down to his stomach, though. Again, another tactic being used. He's underneath the window ledge, not exposing himself. What he's doing at the moment is he's just looking for information. He's trying to figure out where FaZe are. Why I try and figure out what he knows. I can bring back the amazing co. I threw to him, he ignored me, and now he says he's back.
Yeah, just, needed a timeout. Needed a timeout from Mark Powercast. It is what it is. Sometimes you gotta get your breaks in. FaZe, though, interesting change of strategy, don't you think, Mark?
Well, what they actually done is they made an aggressive push in towards Bacado. Obviously, they're going to know Na'Vi is here, right? So they've completely swarmed, like, sort of crashed in this sort of east side. They've not actually clashed too much with them. So Na'Vi obviously went for a slight split, but they have the guys, the Hakatori, so said, who are in the town. They actually pushed themselves now towards more that south to southwest section. So they are looking back. They are trying to figure out where they are. So I like the play from FaZe, that they've gone aggressive. I think they don't quite know exactly if Na'Vi remain still fully in the town.
Yeah, it's just the tactical approach, right? Using your camera quite a bit can help out here a lot, so Hakatori doesn't have to show himself. On the other side of the map, though, towards Minas, I'm thinking we got a little bit of a commotion going on over there. It's looking like the Foot Esports players are cruising right on through Arctics. And some of the rest of Slam, Boostic, Mogore, Arctics, those guys, they've been popping off shots yesterday. They've been hitting them as well. And just like that, T-Bot, our lobby, if there's not an absolute hero res coming on in, which I think is absolutely impossible at this point. So, straight from the podcast couch, back to the lobby.
Literally. It's my fault, guys. Like, we were late leaving the podcast. I had to rush to get him home. And he's going to moan he didn't get enough time to practice. That's exactly what it's going to be. For now, Vard taking his initial shots back. Boostic trying to push further forward. But yeah, he definitely from the podcast couch to the death in game number 1.
Unfortunate turn of events. You hate to start your game like this. You hate to start your lobby like this. Doesn't matter if it's which game it is. Losing one early is absolutely not even just for your chances in the game, also for your mental to start this game. You're already on the back foot, right? Everybody else is just setting up, getting in position. You're starting the game trying to sort of salvage already as a 3-man. Now Pixel has to get out of dodge as well. Does so very cleanly. Makes sure he doesn't drive into any of the Slam G players. Fiddles his way on through. But yeah, salvage mode for Foot Esports, and not something that you want to start your day with.
Definitely not at the moment. Ton of fire. Well, they did play in the top. FaZe clocked up, and looks like they have to retreat back slightly as Project X now moving their way in. Also, I definitely find that there's not a lot of early engagements all of the time. I think Miramar sort of plays into you have the ability to kind of duck and dive around the sand dunes and not fully expose yourself. Unlike Max, who might have popped his head a little bit too close to the eternal fire flames. Now they know where they are. They're gaining information. This is the biggest thing. Got about 34 seconds left before we see phase number 2 underway. And putting a few players down. And one of them being Foot Esports. They're going to be waiting for the zone and praying for the zone to pull back towards that east side.
Right next to Project X and Eternal Fire, 2 teams that have had a day to forget yesterday. I think that's the 2 teams on 5 points, if I'm not mistaken. Not point average that you want to be showing off on the leaderboard, 5 or 6 points respectively. So they're going to be looking to fix a whole lot of mistakes today. They're going to be hoping to get away with something bigger and better. Circle goes north, goes power grid, goes exactly to Twisted Minds. But I'm a little concerned about example there. Levante has crept all the way up to his compound. We got a glimpse of it on the map there. That's looking very, very sus. Crossberg, on the other hand, though, he's getting popped by VP, and that might be an opener.
Might be an opener. There's Levante. Example, trying to farm information because he knows he's going to have a lot of it coming his way. Now, no, Levante takes a shot. Doesn't quite catch Example. He's had to duck his way back down with the shot backpack. He has to get his way out of here now. He'll take the opportunity to get back in the car. I don't imagine him hanging around for too much. He had the opportunity. He wasn't able to convert.
Ambitious shots as well. Long range barrel spray. It's not usually what you go for to get a free knock, but he felt like he wanted to take it. Didn't want to waste any more time. And to be honest, Levante is one of the guys that usually hits those. Now FaZe, they decided to mess with Na'Vi, and Na'Vi is messing back at them. 2 flush for FaZe already. I think Gustav knocked as well. That means just 1 up standing. As the Panzerfaust from Starhead is the weapon of choice.
Oh, wow. Save.
Shots from afar and a little bit of help from Saucet.
Love that. Didn't even throw it over the wall. He went for the rebound throw.
Yeah.
Distraction. And Space Marine, a.k.a. Fex, was looking for the confirm to get a point on the board. But saved. Fairy Tale. Finded a little bit of cover now. Na'Vi have lost 1. They do have a res to get in. Got smoke. Well, it's going to allow him to crawl around to a bit of safety. Other teams that are not in safety. Well, return of fire. Technically, there's 2 out. There's down to 2 players now. And there's Project X. Oh, he's unlucky with that one. Really unlucky.
Paidaro's meanwhile stolen away from Lulu, so that's an angle from the top rocks. But look at that, Mad is firing off more teams crashing into Picaro. Desperate for options, it seems like. Executor caught in the open as well. The shots are there, but the bars will save his life. Code Marco and the Mad trying to hold things down in the boxing ring. Not even that easy to hold as a 2-man. That could be a nicely timed lead. That could be a good bounce.
Oh,
good damage done.
Lucky.
No knock, however.
Damage.
Still a 4v2 here. And then also Acalyptos as a solo on their south. This is tricky for Eternal Fire.
Surprised so many teams still remain here as well. So a lot of people migrated out towards the west. Na'Vi being one of them. FaZe chasing down Na'Vi as well. I think they're looking for an aggressive stance, looking for the kills today. Obviously Dodge have played in. For Esports obviously playing in as well. But a little bit of a sandwich though in the middle. There's Eternal Fire and Project Hex. I suppose you can make maybe one feel like 101, but you've got these powerhouses either side of you. It won't take long to figure out there's only 1 set of gun sprays coming out from the flat. So I do worry a bit about Project X at the moment. Still phase number 2. We do have some time. And with time, well, you can see and gain more information of these teams pushing around.
I actually don't even mind his chances here almost, because he is going to get... There's a good chance he gets a bit forgotten about, right? If he doesn't actually shoot. Foot will move out of the south of Picado when the circle goes south. Na'Vi will... sorry, not Na'Vi. The Dodge will move out to the north if they have to. And a lot of these teams will be quite busy. And not worrying about him all too much. Now, circle once again, going towards power grid. A few rocks still in play. I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes northwest at all. And we already see a few sends coming out. Nice little EP into the middle from ADR. And a big send coming out from GK. So a lot of these teams thinking that the circle's going power grid as well.
It's great, actually, EP you called from 100 yards. They're going to sit in that bow, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just sort of outside.
Well timed as well. Perfectly on circle pop. Making sure they can react to wherever the circle goes. That's exactly what you want to be doing.
Popping his head up like whack-a-mole. Nades come through. Does dodge that. BB team have played in from the south now. They are on a slight split. Besto is further afield. You can see him sort of in the background there. Doozy Monoduct and Field First. Pretty much on the compound here. Bushido. And try and generate the angle. It's got to be careful though, because I think some people get, they feel a bit safe when they sort of move across in TPP. But they sometimes forget about the adjacent angles. At the moment, no, they're having a look. Great spray comes on. A doozy, Niddy going down, gets caught with that one. Information gained, but Nade is huge, though. Monodot puts Metabay down. Celtic Well, it's going to try and hold off. They're going to put the molly on to try and stop the push here. But realistically, it's going to be difficult. They need reinforcements. It looks like they have picked him up. They're going to try and get Meta Bay rezzed a little bit further afield.
It's a hard push as well for BB. You could see Iroh getting taken down to very low HP on the other side of things, but now shots from range come in. Geeky says, well, we got some shots on this too. We want to get involved. Diffix gets Molotov down, gets pace with his own life on the other side, and he actually does get flushed. Nick says, well, thank you. I'll take that whenever I can. That's a good nade, though. Bushido. Iroh, the old man himself, puts him down. Puts one up on the tally. 1 point for Bushido.
Yeah. And obviously Best got caught. VP wrapped him from behind as well. So that is unfortunate for Ducey. Trying to get some information. Obviously, he can use the stairs to his advantage. Send also playing up towards where GK is as well. So the fight for the high ground is about to kick off. BB team, still hard. Obviously losing bodies. They've dumped a lot of util now. And they haven't got that much remaining. So I'll have to try and sit, watch and wait. And PWD, Lex the Cybersport, well, he's had to get off the high ground here. Once we're hearing the send roll in, he's got to stay really, really quiet now.
This is going to be a bit of an awkward situation for PewDiddy. Right underneath the send, they're going to have to be hiding out. There's a chance he gets away with a frag here or there if they do not know about him. Again, surprise being a very nice factor to have on your side. Meanwhile, circle coming on in. Picado still stacked, and there is the circle we predicted. It would go northwest, eliminating as many of the rocks as it can, or as much of the rocks as it can. And that's good for Ascend, that's good for GG. That's not good for all these Picado teams who are now on Ascend. We see them already on the map. They gotta get out somewhere. And it's not good for BB either. Having to work their way through the compound here won't be easy.
Look at VP, straight through the middle. Uncontested, really. Navi taking a few shots, so keep an eye on that in the kill feed at the moment. Bushido, well, it's difficult. At what point do you move? You got a duo behind you. You know they're going to have to move before you. So it's more of a hold off, but then it's kind of that ensured destruction. We know that Ascend are sitting towards their north. They've got the high ground. They don't need to move. So Bushido, despite they've got time on their side, for 2 kills, potentially getting into late game, it's difficult, and that's not what you need. A nade through the front door, and Meta Bay, well, second knock incoming.
That's the second time they get caught on that exact angle. So nice nades from Bedboom, and a bit of a lesson to be learned for Bushido. The obvious TPP angles, they will get naded off a lot, and that's the first thing there. Filfers goes in with a shotgun, sort of. Oh, he whips
No!
them.
He missed it twice! Oh my god, how? How? Come on! He missed, and he went back for a second and missed a second time.
I thought he was on there. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know how he missed that. It looked so good as well. The timing, they had no idea. They didn't hear anything because of the util.
It was the door. It was the door. He saw the movement on the door, so he second guessed it. I felt he was going for the shot close. He saw the play on the door, and he pulled away towards that door shot. Unfortunate though, BB will be kicking himself. They are down. Back towards fighting on the hand though. Navi try and hold out. Hakatori using the TPP goes towards an FPP as he sprays. Has to be cautious. Nate goes over the top. Too bad actually. Does get the knock, and he comes flying over though. Talk about a power play, but gets caught though. They will now fall. It's unfortunate for them. The distance is causing issues for these teams, and at the very, very top of the hill, we still have 20 minutes.
Twisted Minds farming from the top as well, but everybody in shambles that is coming out of this Picado area. We see Foot down to just 1, Navi losing 2 as well. You can see Styed now coming out 0 HP on his health bar, just barely making it in there, hoping he can go for the res. VP, they don't want to let it happen, but they've also been suffering casualties. Nick's the one that might have something to say about this, but even he is on a bit of a jog to even close the distance, and then still have the dodge coming out. Paints gets himself a few there, onto Bushido, 3 at that. Ascend tearing them apart. There's the nade from Nyx. It's absolute carnage. Everybody that's not on the rock right now is not a happy little soul.
No, and this is kind of where they've been sitting, watching, waiting, haven't they? Navi soon to fall. At again, go 12th place for them. Twisted Minds, 3 kills on the board. Example is not. Most of the guys obviously having a quick look at it. Lou has grabbed him, so looking to try and get that res. There goes that power grid, as you called earlier on. Bushido still on the outside. VP clawing their way back in. Actually do get a break again. Second time they're rotating past, and it's not a problem. BWD, still alive from GK. 10 teams are up.
He's getting
For
his.
those that... Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure
Surely
of
he
it.
gets spotted.
I am sure
He
of
has
it.
to be.
He's getting one at least. He might even get two if he gets lucky, if Ascend doesn't respect the possibility, but they shouldn't, right? They've been playing here for so long. Nobody's ever been shooting. They demolished Bushido below them. They will have no idea that he even exists, so this is going to get a bit dicey for them, I think.
And free from pains as well. You can see in the kill feed, he took out the card, didn't he? So
Yeah.
fortunately for Bushido, in the art of fall, it's Chris putting a few little scratches on his paintwork. I think he's tempted at it. He's looked at it twice. I think he's just waiting to see if someone peeks. He knows.
Oh, God.
He knows that it's coming back for him. That could be a good name. Oh my God, he's cooked out. Gone short. He takes his shot. As Chris comes out, he lays down. Lucky enough, doesn't get caught with it. And now try and line up the nade. Second nade will go out a little bit further this time, though, as the guys are repositioning. Does get his Chris for the second time. Now needs to be cautious. As a kill on the board, you called for two. I don't think you wanted to put Ascend in it. But that's one kill under the belt, and has time to med as well.
Got time to med. I almost thought he was blues on there, but it was just his skins just flaring off like that. Rough times. I thought he would be absolutely unknown, but he pops Chris there as well. A bit of a miscommunication. It's Chris maybe calling for Keely to hold, but then they don't align on the same angle, so Keely actually can't do anything about it. And just like that, you lose a member. Just like that. That might cost you the game later on. I don't think he's going to get a whole lot more than this. Now attack down to half HP. Got to send it into the smoke. Got to try and take a 2 versus 1 there. But he's done the damage now. And Ascend is not going to be happy about this. Levante relieves them of the problem. But Chris down is a big scalp to take.
And look at what Levante is as well. He's just over watching now, so he's going to try and hold out. Here's that drop that we saw 180 yards, take the E rotate, the E pick up into. Really good hold. And this is it. GG are now activating. Kilikai is down as well. 180 yard will try and hold. I can't see a push happening here just yet at the moment. I think it's more going to come from the Vitordins, the Fairy Tales, or GG. That's before we even remind ourselves that Slam is sneaking their way in on the north. And GG is still holding in Power Grid as well. So, all to play for in the south.
Good transition from Twist. That was not that easy, right? There was a lot of carnage going on around them. They had some solos below them waiting to hold them out. They make it across. They stay clean. They don't lose members. They look good for this late game. Now GG, you can see they're almost getting bored in their Power Grid position. They're coming out, getting aggressive, making sure that they can maximize kills. Levante with the arm, we saw him earlier. He's now going to see if he can maybe put some nades down towards ADR. They have to worry about Ascend a little bit. I think Brex there giving up the first aids to Paints maybe to try and give them as much blue healing potential as they can, because they know they're being held by a team that has tons of space and drop guns. But not seeing them get a whole lot more than 6 placements here unless they have a massive amount of first aids left.
Remember, we saw from Ascend, they were able to hail for the bull on our day number 1, right? So,
Yeah.
see if they can do it again. It is a big ask. It is a tall order to be had. Twisted Minds, they are doing right. They are looking pretty strong for a win here, though. They have to try and hold out these remaining teams, then reposition and take the fight onto 100 ADR as long as they can apply pressure onto GG. As it stands, 100 ADR would be happy to sit in the bowl as long as Twisted Minds and GG kind of go head to head.
They gotta go. They gotta go into ADR at some point, though. They're gonna wrap down left now, maybe. Wrap into Fairy Tale here, maybe trying to get the knocks onto ADR, but they gotta do something with it, right? They can't stick around forever. Paints goes down, he gets spotted in the blue. If you're blue healing and somebody spots you, it's always over. You're gonna be very, very slow while using those meds, but yeah, this is the fight we're waiting for. This is the move Twisted Minds have to make. Now they spot the solo. Lou gets himself not a 4th, even a 5th. Already 10 frags. That is more frags
Now go.
than they had in the rest of the day.
Oh wow.
Day 1. Example on 8. The rest of the team on 5. Now Lou's on 5 himself. They're starting with a banger at least here.
Well, they didn't know. They now know they've got a team right below them. As 100 ADR try to push up one way. Is there a world that Twisted Minds maybe wraps around this, now known as a team underneath them? They have the aggressive stance to try and play in. I know Gaming Gladiators is down 1. Should have exchanged reses now. 100 ADR down one as well. But we are on top 4. It's technically a 4 versus 4 versus 4 versus 2. One of the ADR guys is DBNO. I'll be looking to get the res. Our duo, well, they're really uncontested. There is rocks up there in power grid, so maybe we can take a 2 versus 1, but most of the action's going to happen down here. Great shot.
Yeah, it is, and should, and honestly, it should be GG all the way, right? Rox is just holding his edge. He's just not trying to do more than he needs to. While Levante is letting that arm rip. He's got 12 more bullets. More than enough for all enemies standing in the rest of this. And Twist is somehow still 4 alive. They got no space at all. They look like they would blow up in a single nade here. But they've got to make it down, like you said, right? You said go when they got the knock onto GG. They couldn't make it in time. They had to get a res themselves. But if they don't go, Circle is going to make them. And that's going to make things even harder for them.
That forces them into more of the east side, right? They got the cars. They could rotate their way around. They didn't get the opportunity. Obviously, they got a knock. They received a knock as well, right? I just can't see them pushing down. It's the unknown of where the 2 players for 100 ADR are sitting. So I think they'll be looking at an opportunity of maybe to rotate round. You go into the bowl. It's not 50-50 because you've got the numbers on your side, but it's not the Twisted Mind way of playing. Go round, gain information. That's them now on the move. They are playing towards the east. The downside, though, well, Boostic is going to get flattened. No, he's going to get flattened with the ace and even beeped. And Slamgy will fall. We're now in a top 3 position. And it's 4 versus 4 versus 2. As that MG rings in my ear. 100 ADR losing off 1.
MG3 and an arm, but look at that. Levante caught on the other side of things. This is big for GG. They had all the control in the world. They had all the time in the world to do whatever they wanted to, and now they're getting absolutely dumpstered. Wubuki gets a second example, at least knocked on the other side, but that's Rox now known. And that's now a 2v3, a 1v3 at this point.
Wow.
This is rough for GG. The game was all in their hands, and Twist just took it from them.
And this is the case. Dante's had to go forward. Rox needs to make some noise. Unfortunately, got caught. Dante's the final player. Oh, he gets caught underneath. Great shot. Store 3 versus 1. Twisted Mind closing the gap. Losers double checking. They
got the wrong idea. They think it's 2 players. They don't realize it's just Dante. They're looking for another.
Yeah, but they can't misread the kill feed though.
They were busy getting knocked by Rox and killing Rox, so maybe they just completely missed Levante going down to Wubuki, and now they know, and now they should be able to do the maths as well, because they realize, okay, 5 alive, we know what's going on now, but that took a while, and that's going to mean Batulins is flushed if Dante just delays for another 10 seconds here, but it's still a 1v3 with circle disadvantage. Twisted Minds are just making sure that they're not throwing this one, that they're not throwing the placement points away here.
Nope.
Just making sure they're
called
locking
it.
in.
I was able to get out of the chaos as well. That's a big nade. Dante. No damage just yet. He's going to try and play the advantage that he can look over the ridgeline where he can. Perfectix goes crazy bunny. Stomach down. Trying to generate an angle. Twisted Minds know they've got the zone. I think they are just literally waiting. There goes Crazy Lou. Molly goes over the top. Doesn't quite get the connection, but he's used the opportunity to get as close as he can. But he's got to be cautious. He knows he could be potentially looking over the top.
Goes into first person. He's ready to take the peek. He knows exactly when he's coming over the ridge line, but a little overconfident there from Lou. Dante spots him first, pops him down. Nate is good. Nate is good. Damaged. Perfectix locks it in for Twist. You put me on the spot. I said Twisted Minds, but not in this fashion, I would have thought. 14 frags for them. Absolute banger to start the day.
Give me the lottery numbers, Cara. Come on, I can put you in the pressure. give me those magic numbers, mate. Well, the magic numbers did go towards Twisted Minds there for game number 1. And actually it wasn't easy for them, though, because they had to work their way around. There was a lot of chaos on the south side, but it really did show to the level of Twisted Minds. Teams would have maybe just sent it into where 100 ADR were. They actually stopped. They reset. They moved their way around. They were able to take a fight on the go. And even well before that, they're on the rocks. They didn't overcommit. They knew the terrain was to their advantage, and they closed out game number 1.
And I'm going to go, no disrespect to GG. They played a massive game. They got themselves a lot of frags. They were going very aggressive when they could, right? But if Twisted Minds play that game from Power Grid, I think they win it as well. So they were in the harder spot here from these two teams. And they just managed to overcome. Obviously, good send from them. That's the one we were wondering about. They actually do both miss. It's a heartbreak for Phil first. But yeah, I mean, like you said, they were in the harder spot there, but they make the exact right rotations. They have the discipline to close it out in the end, even with a bit of a wrong kill feed read. And they reward themselves here with a big game to come back. It's going to bombard them towards the top of the scoreboard. I think top 3, top 4 probably on the cards for them now.
Yeah. Good game. Also, this is the action I'm talking about. This is like they were able just to deal with the chaos that was outside. Talk about the chaos. Sam got caught slightly. I think they second guessed that. They were looking. Chris was looking at it, driving by slowly, trying to bait the shots. PWD able to keep cool, calm, and collective. I love these shots from Dante through the flames. Chris is going forward, but Perfectix, well, knows where to lay the nade. There's the confirm extra point on the board. But there you go. Game 1. Well, it's bagged. Winner, chicken dinner. Twisted Minds are taking game 1.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. I think, yeah, the Ascend one a little unfortunate, right? I kind of thought that was going to happen because PewDiePie was so quiet for so long, and that's just so powerful. When you're a solo and you just don't get involved in anything around you, and then he plays it well as well, right? He singles out the 1v1s, doesn't over-peak, but obviously rough for Ascend because they could have maybe played from the southern side, but then as soon as they dealt with the solo, we had 2 or 3 GG members there with drop weapons, just aiming down that arm at them. So maybe it wouldn't have even mattered. You know, who knows? Who knows? In the end, does sting a little bit, but those are the games that sometimes you just don't have in your own hands.
Well, let's confiscate these weapons away from the teams and reset the lobby because it'll be time to Tago. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, though, it'll be match number 2.
8 years of Battlegrounds bliss. Updates to several arcade modes. And a new Survivor Pass. All this and more as we dive into the Update 34.2 patch report. First up, we're celebrating 8 glorious years of Battle Royale mayhem. You'll find anniversary decorations across the various maps and on some of PUBG's most iconic objects and locations, including care packages, energy drinks, the plane, and various locations across Erangel. The starting island also features an 8th anniversary BobbleBot statue with special golden grenades to throw at it to see your name up in lights. We're even collaborating with M83 for a brand new BGM track for the anniversary. This milestone wouldn't be possible without your dedication throughout the years. So on behalf of the entire PUBG Battlegrounds team, thank you for 8 wonderfully chaotic years. And speaking of your dedication, thanks to your testing, we were able to make some meaningful adjustments to the aim punch settings following the Gunplay Labs aim punch we ran in January. We're now planning on a second round of Gunplay Labs in March to test the new settings, so stay tuned for details. Next up, the arcade is getting a couple of adjustments. Team Deathmatch has several new maps to enjoy, including Destin Arena, Vikendi Train Station, and Sanhok Camp Bravo. We've also adjusted map selection probabilities, added destruction to Sanhok, and changed up the spawn kit. For Intense Battle Royale, the layout of safe zones, supply drops, and vehicles are now random in all maps. The starting Molotov has been swapped to a frag grenade, a random LMG crate has been added, and we've activated destruction on Sanhok. For fans of custom matches, you can now bring in 100 people, up from the previous 24. Last but not least, we're reverting the max player count for Hot Drop back up to 64 players for even more intense action, while also slightly lowering the atom spawn rate. You can check out full details on all these changes in the patch notes. There's also a brand new Survivor Pass available to collect, as well as various bug fixes, so be sure to check out the patch notes for full details on everything. Update 34.2 is here, so put on your party hat, grab a golden grenade, and hit up the arcade. Happy 8th anniversary, PUBG fans. We'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
Minds bullying the lobby, Mark. Twitch chat bullying each other. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we have a few warriors in the conversation. But a Miramar like we are used to, right? A classic Twisted Mind circle. They play it a little bit differently, though. Usually we would see them in Power Grid, right? But they decide to go a little bit more aggressive on the top of the rocks, and it pays off in the long run.
I wonder if that's part and parcel because of the TPP mode. They can go to the rocks and they can look over with safety without fully silhouetting. We saw them activate. We saw them kill quite a few of the teams down below. And they're able to sort of duck back in, work into their positions. It looked pretty strong. And obviously, then they just kind of swept that south side, and it was eventually Twisted Minds to take it. I quite like it. It was decent.
Yeah. I think GG wondering a little bit where that game went, but honestly, just kind of outplayed a little bit there by Twist. I feel like they made the exact right call. You said, right? They have cars. They can go around the east. They went a little bit further than we might have expected, but it does pay off. We have 3 more games for you tonight. We are going to Tego in match number 2 in just a few seconds here, and then afterwards we will have Rondo and Erangel. So if you're not a fan of Miramar, it's done for the evening, and we have a plane in the air. Tego's on the cards, Mark. What do you think?
Well, I think it's coming from a west or northwest down towards an east. And fun fact, Quizzy prefers Miramar over Erangel, by the way. He said it when we was in the media day. He actually doesn't like playing Erangel. He prefers Miramar. So unfortunately for him, his best map, well, it's done and dusted. Well, he was actually, to be fair, sitting on the sidelines. I think it's good for playing path, though. We are ending sort of central on the east side. It does look and tease us with a potential island in that northwest corner. But for now, we'll track the plane, track the players, and see if we get early engagement. Please, oh please, let's not go Godok.
Tired of the Godok finishes, are you?
Oh my god, it feels like it's like the only finish we get on this map at the moment. So
I love how it always feels
different.
that way. There's always some sort of ending that we feel like it's happening all the time. I was going to say, somebody said it in chat the other day, that the gas station next to Buksansa is a magnet, you know?
Yeah.
We've seen a few circles finish up there in PEC. We've seen a few in other regions if you watch those. It always feels like there's a common ending, but I feel like a lot of that is just in our heads, you know, because we get bored when we see the same thing twice. We're just low attention span gamers at this point. But
no,
yeah, we'll see in a second.
Analytical data. We just focus on it all the time, Caro. Oh no, please not. Well, no. Well, the thing we do know is that potentially won't go all the way to Godok because it's not enough it to be in. What I do find with Godok is kind of been in 2 variations for me. It's always kind of in the zone and it sort of holds on for a period of time, but then it kind of released it on phase 4, phase 5, it left, right? Mm-hmm. Recently, it just seems to be going in and around that city. There is a huge amount of traffic, though. Look at that in the southeast corner. Slam, 100 ADR, and that's before you even put phase on a third party or the dodge, because both of those teams could potentially collapse in on this.
I don't think that's looking super good for ADR here, because that is a big numbers advantage against Hixes. He's got a bolt. He's got, you know, a warehouse to work with. Arctic's going a little far around that corner, but the rest of the squad is here. Mogoro has the shotgun ready. They can flood this right here and then, and it would need an absolute miracle. He gets the first. But the Saiga is so clean in these engagements. Even after the small nerf it received, still an absolute menace. Close range. Mogoro puts another one on the tally and makes sure that this doesn't escalate. Makes sure that SlamG will have plenty of time to load on up and get points in this game. We have a leaderboard though, including the last game.
Yep, 100 they are not to the best start in game 2. They are currently in 14th place, but VP do top the table now. SlamG obviously do get a position up as well, but I think the big talking point for Miko is Twisted Minds. Putting themselves now in 46 points in total. Big placements, also getting the kills underneath the belt.
Also, 48 points on first, 45 points on fifth, right? That's stacked as hell. That is as close as it can get. And then we have a bit of a fall off. But we also have a SlamG who would already be in first place if Mogoro's kill already counted on this leaderboard. So, nice to see one of the qualified teams on there with Gaming Gladiators rounded out. But quite a top-heavy leaderboard at this point. But not top-heavy as in one team running away with it, but more like 5 teams running away with it.
But even like another 2 games, if you look at the teams that are in the 20-point mark, right, we've got a big bunch of them. They could level themselves up to mid to high 30s, and depending on how this left-hand side of the leaderboard does, they potentially put themselves in kind of a springboard to get to a top 4. Yeah. Or more importantly, as we say, that's that kind of 2-tiered approach, isn't there, for this? We've either got a top 4, which we're looking for the money, or a top 8. to go into the actual next stage.
Yeah, and then we have teams like Ascend and Dodge, right? Like they are on that second stage thing you just said, trying to make it into the top 8. Gaming Gladiators, they're not going to be too discouraged by this. They know they would have loved to win the last one, but it wasn't meant to be. And they are now looking to make things work around the Godok exit. It's their loot spot for a long while now in the region. And Rocks, that is some nice shots. Paidaro's not quite ready for it. Does get out on the vulnerable side of the car, instantly punished. And once again, I said this yesterday as well, they're getting some rounds in these teams. They're getting punished by teams like the Gaming Gladiators, and that can be a big learning as well. And I'm not sure if Fine is going to stop for this res. I think he needs some driving lessons as well. That's a disaster for him.
He has hit the drink. He's in the water. The res has now become the victim. Because he was trying to do a good deed. Now he's been left as the rest of the team now leave.
Oh no.
And Santos is trying to figure out exactly where did that car end up. But it is in the drink, as we say. It's underwater. There's nowhere to go. He might just have enough to get around. But oh no, look at that Navi. They're on the south side. Oh, Spyro took a tumble.
Oh. Spyro knocked from falling, not something you want to be seeing if you're a DK fan. I think jumping out of a car a little bit too early there. But we do have Fine swimming, already getting caught. Now drive-by is coming out from FaZe Clan. Pewdiepie tries to get something. He does get one, but does get traded. And it's just Quizzy left. FaZe Clan once again, messy early, aggressive early. This is what they love to do. But this time, they might get away with a clean sweep here. They might get away with a full squad. It's looking like Quizzy is off to the races. And just like that, FaZe will consolidate 3 frags for them and 4 players standing.
Yeah, he's got to get out of there. He has to get out of there now. So, rotating his way around. We'll take the opportunity to try and get a med on with the bumpy terrain. That is Tego. There's a good split, actually, I find, with these teams. We have a number of them on the sort of north side. We still have a number of them holding out on the south side. VP will drop for fishing camp here. Eternal Fire, no, so we'll drop a little bit further down, especially kind of out, just on the outside of Hosam. They're now pushing closer. But VP, nice. VP takes some shots, though. Ross is in a bit of danger now, as VP, Nixie, singing out his car as he tries to generate angles here on Eternal Fire.
A lot of aggression in this early game. Eternal Fire has to dodge away, but Code Marco has an angle on Luca, who's over-peeking pretty far into this. Not afraid to take these very, very aggressive engagements. As we see Eternal Fire now shying away from it a little bit. They once again weren't really able to find their footing in that last game, Mark. They haven't really found much success yesterday. And they weren't able to majorly turn it around in game 1 of the day. But still got 3 more games to do it. Still got 3 more games to get themselves to the top 8.
Yeah. All right, a team which, as I said before, they like to make a desperate attempt at the end. Now, they're in 60 pace at the moment, so there's an ask. It is an ask from them. It's on a fight under pressure. And Nixie just waiting as he does get out of the car, does get that headshot though with the MK in the fall. VP now trying to look to capitalise up a little bit further. Zone 2 minutes 30 to go before we see it shift in. I said there is a good split for me on these teams. There's a good divide. Some teams still remain on the sort of north side, but there's a large number still remain on the south side of the water.
Yeah, teams going for fights over position in this one, which is, I guess, a bit of just because of the circle being so undecisive, right? The circle not really telling us if it's going north or south just yet. But then again, you have someone like Nyx on the roster, right? You want to get him warmed up, or you want to get him shooting, and now they're going to spot Ketba on this rock. They're going to choke him out from all angles, getting all kinds of approaches on this.
Run!
He's got nowhere to go, doesn't even know what to do anymore. Gives it up, and just like that, it's just Crossberg left standing. They should have a good idea where he is as well. You can see Luca is already going for a very wide angle. Try to cut out any possible cover that Crossberg could be playing. And VP is looking to confirm the 4-0 sweep.
Do you know what? I love what VP are doing. They are just isolating one player at a time. They're picking them apart. It is disgusting. But the polar bear knows where his victims are. And it was just 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much. We got some points in the ground, and this is our drop spot. Don't do that again, Eternal Fire.
Do not mess with us. Is a message VP likes to send. A team that it's really been on the come up, honestly. They were performing
100%.
really, really well that last year. Got some really good performance in globally. And is looking to cement that in the region. Foot, good day yesterday. Slow start to the games today. We saw them in that whole mess around the Picado area. And they weren't able to get out cleanly.
It's all my fault, remember? This is exactly my fault. T-Bone didn't get enough practice timing. That's exactly what it is. I have to wait and see. Hopefully he doesn't watch back the broadcast because he will blame me. Now, well, to be fair, I know, and a lot of these teams do. They actually do watch back the broadcast all the time. So, rip. Wait and see for that DM to come through. Esports, though, this is the home turf, though, Cora. Remember they dropped this Yeongchung side?
Yeah.
They recently have been extending out, getting some of the cars a little bit further down towards the west, the way we're looking. But it's nice to see they've kind of tightened back up. Two split hold either side of the town. I think they're ready to go on either side of that bridge. The zone is about to pop. As the zone does come back towards the north, we can see the sky is littered with these E-pickups. But again, this is the advantage. There's 2-2 split now. They're going to be able to collapse. Hopefully they've picked out that Project X has positioned themselves in the middle.
Again, that's a solo, right? That's easy to miss. That's the only advantage of being alone. But FaZe with a well-timed EP as well. They're a little late to the zone pop, but they're still relatively in time. Max, no, actually not interested in staying on the cover. Actually taking a few shots to try and scare other players away as EPs are coming over, and that western side is heating up fast. Fairy Tail blasting through the middle. GG taking shots from one side, GG from the other. Or GG and BB, excuse me. And the same thing happening on that eastern bridge. Everything is moving faster. It's a big migration mark.
Big migration at the moment. Zone has gone for that top side. GG taking initial shots to get on a few connections onto VP, but they're already over on the sort of north side. They're going to rotate their way around. Levante, he's trying to hold. They're going down, taking the dirt, having a little look over the top as he's trying to wiggle his way towards that tree. It's kind of telling me that he's seen Nixie maybe. Just want to find a position where maybe he can pop up and get a few shots at him, but he is very focused back towards that kind of anchor play.
Luca finds rocks though.
Not what you need.
Not what you need. Instant pull up as well. They're going aggressive on this. They're not hesitating around at all. Not for a second. Now, Levante gets in the shots into Nyx, but he doesn't find even a single connection. It's going to have to fall away from things, and just like that, they know about 2 more of these GG players, and they can try and go for a punish. That's some big shots coming in from Fairy Tail into Levante. If he gets knocked there, it's bad news, Bears, and there is the knock. Nyx cracked with it, pops him out of the car. It's a disaster for GG.
Unfortunately for Fairy Tail, they did do a large amount of damage, but it's another kill on the board. VP find themselves top of the table, and I feel like there's a bit of blood in the water here. So they are chasing down as many kills as they can. Gaming Gladiators brought down to a duo. They're pretty tight, and they are a little bit further in, so around Fairy Tail they're going. There's a lot of playable terrain up here in the north. I find for me the trees, the advantage sometimes, especially if you're trying to kill players coming down, is on the south side. But if for a duo, a solo that wants to hide, actually trying to get yourself into that forestry area, you might be able to hide out. Factoring in though, it is TPP, so if they get the field of vision right, the field of view right, they might catch them, but they have to stay still. For now, Fairy Tail taking a few shots back towards VP, trying to immobilize those cars. I think that's only one step in the immobilization of VP because they seem to be on fire here.
And someone talking to me earlier saying like, oh, Lucarux is a good IGL, but he's not very cracked. But him getting that opening knock, yeah, I was like, what? I don't know if you've been watching the same game as me. And him getting that opening knock onto Rocks is what opened this whole thing up. It's what opened the whole can of worms for GG. That sent them to just a 2-man left standing as they went from one of the best spots, holding a good edge down, to just being a duo hiding out in the middle of the circle. Twist on the EP, another well-timed one. This is going to transfer them nicely into this phase 3 as they're looking to say where to go. And honestly, Mark, I'm not sure where to go because that's all open. Everything west of Fairy Tail and Navi, that's a completely open terrain. There's not a whole lot you're going to be playing in this zone.
They might even be trying trolling by the bridge. I'm quite surprised they didn't go back and get the cars and then just try and hold. I suppose there's an argument to say you might need bodies on that north side of the water for when you want to cross. I love that VP are played back into that southwest corner. Nix is going to be watching this coastline for other teams, other players, because we've got so many bodies up here. And yes, they're going to send themselves in towards sort of the towns, etc. But with phase 3 to phase 4, we've got to lose the water at one time. And which way does it go? Does it go heavy towards that west? Or does it play back towards that east? Either way, I wouldn't be too surprised to find more and more teams across this coastline.
Yeah, and that's the first one settling in, right? Foot making sure they have a bit of a hold. They got to figure out the setup, though. They don't want to get singled out. We just saw what happened to GG, right? They thought they had a setup. It crumbled to pieces. And Foot has to be careful because there will be a few teams challenging for this area of the circle. Once again, there's not a ton to play here. Yes, you can send it city, or you can try and play the coastline. You can try to play one of these open fields, but with so few options available, Foot might get contested. Even just Slam firing off from the southern side could be a problem for them. And it could be something that makes it questionable. Ascend on the north, meanwhile, getting busy, getting involved with Bushido. BB ready to third party that. GG as well. They're lying in wait for this mark.
This is crazy. I love what Slam have done. They've gone towards that south side. They're going to cause huge issues. But look at the northwest corner here. GG, Bushido, Ascend, and BB. Oh, now trying to fight for the top of the hill. Bushido has an airborne Ranger. Takes a couple of shots. Bushido going through the middle, but no, he does catch him. Headshot. Anyway, it's going to go down. That's another kill underneath the belt of GG. That one was stolen away, actually. Scrapped that by BB. It is not a lot of terrain. As I said before, yes, you might feel safe in these trees, but as these teams need to move down south, it's going to be punishing.
Yeah, and those, like we said, right? We're laying in wait. The Dragunov connects once, and that can be enough. Now, Extends out of the picture. GG's presence is known. Still a few teams wanting to move in on that side. I think Ascend is still looking to fight their way on in here, but they know that BB is a thing. They know GG's lurking around. They know Bushido exists. It's not going to be an easy approach for them. This is honestly going to get quite messy on this side of the circle, Mark.
Especially if Ascend have been kill feed reading. I mean, keeping an eye on what's been happening in the game. I have an idea roughly of the numbers, but obviously they've wrapped their way around here, so they might not have full knowledge of where these teams are. Esports are going to punish Slam. There's that zone shift away from the water we spoke about before. That's come a bit more towards that sort of east side, and there wasn't really many other places it could go. I think Foot might be disappointed they're still not in the town. They have lurked their way around, and it has to erupt here in the north. BB versus Ascend, GG and Bushido all there. Maybe there's an argument to say Bushido just dip out, get in the car. But where does VP come into the mix? Do they go for the third party onto sort of Twisted Minds? There's lots of options for that team that sits out in the west.
They have a lot of options, and they're just going to weigh them up carefully. They're going to maybe even go with a bit of a split two-way approach. Something not very possible for teams on the south. We see Slam G slamming it through Twisted Minds, and I thought they were going to stop on the bridge and take that fight. They got the opening knocks, but they've been punished nice and easy here by Twist and by Navi from the top. So they've been absolutely decimated. Boostic trying to go for that Riverside himself there. You see him next to Lou, but already getting pressured by VP, and you can see yes, they had a lot of options, VP. They've decided to go for the safer, more southern approach because they smell kills here. They smell blood in the water, and I wouldn't be surprised if they close out the area of the zone here a little bit.
Yeah, it's difficult. Obviously, they're going to have a call on that sort of shack there. That'd be the next sort of target. Do they then try and hold in the bowl? They've got to keep the cars activated as well, ready to go. 30 Sports, though, obviously committed towards that sort of south side. Pixel and 249. And they've got much to go for the reload. The argument is you don't need it. And here comes the util dump over the top. T-Bone is down. DBNO not flush just yet. Here comes more util back. And 30 Sports, well, they're trying to ignite the bridge. But they've got a limited amount of time remaining before other teams get involved. And you can see the map, but 100 ADR already sniffing this way.
Yeah, they want to get involved as well because they also don't have a lot of place to go. Paints and Brex taken out on the other side of things. That's a bit of an unfortunate turn of events for Ascend as VP are coming in on this. Lou's got to hold off. He's got to find something with his nade before he even gets into AR range, because otherwise he is just going to get traded. Nick's already smelling that over the top. Comes over, takes him out. Oh no, takes him to 1 HP. But it is enough in the end. That nade at his feet. He's got to crawl. That's a door open for VP that they will use. They will swing it wide open and they will come charging on in. 9 frags already. And they are looking to clean up the remainders of whatever happens here, Mark.
Yeah, this is all about damage control now. Twisted Mind sort of punching away out there. Made the decision, hey, let's go back. Lou, you try and hold VP as much as you can. We've got to get out towards the east. They storm their way through for Esports. Perfected because DBNO. They've got to try and get that res back up there. But at least now they've cleared the teams behind. They can draw their guns back towards the west and try and catch VP as they come under the bridge and make the push towards Twisted Minds.
Absolute mess on that southern side.
Love it.
Dante's still alive on the north. He took
Oh,
down...
wow. What a
Oh,
shift.
Twist wishing, or VP wishing they would have gone north. BB is just cruising in on this. Are they ready for Dante at all? Bushido, they leave Dante alive, and it makes the fight so much easier for them. Dante takes down BB for them, opening the door. If Bushido wiped this is a 2v4 mark. The nade comes out, should do the damage, should do the trick, but it doesn't connect. BB still in this.
Doesn't quite connect. He needed that one to cause damage. That is a huge nade, but one comes back down towards Meta Bay, but there's 2 remaining. 2 versus 1 here. Don't think they've got the read exactly where he is. I think Phil First is just trying to figure out. He can get an idea. There goes the smoking mill. Nade gets thrown away, but no connection for that one. And there is time to go down. He has a read peek and does see him though. Meta Bay has seen Best Lock though, trying to hold out. He just needs to put a good amount of U2 in. There goes 1. Doesn't quite get the confirmed 2 store up here as he has to go on the outside. Phil First going to use the train to his advantage. He goes out to the blue and eventually gets a knock in though. BB should be able to get the reses, but they've got to get him the car. They've got a bit of freedom in this north side before everybody else comes wrapping this way.
Nice play from Phil First. The blue play to clutch it out in the end. Knows that he has to do something. Knows he has to just speed things up for his team to take control here. They will now get the reses and they will get total control of that northern side. As VP has dispatched of Navi on their side. I'm not sure if Navi pushed out. It does seem this way. They have cleaned them up entirely. They were on 9 frags when they were knocking Lou, I think. I think they've just gotten themselves at least 3 more. They're looking at much more than double digits this game. They're looking absolutely hot. And they're looking to put up more frags. FaZe, they've got 5 for themselves. And they are working their way out of the town as well with just a solo ahead of them.
Yeah, I think Navi, obviously during that BB engagement, they played down towards VP. VP are just on fire. Leave them alone, guys. Just give them a bit of space so they can't kill you. FaZe were also pushing for the 2-2. They tried to play for the south, but now with the zone shifting back, they've kind of consolidated the 4 and moving their way now through the town. They've got to be careful. They've got to make sure they don't lose a knock here just on the outside. But they've got those sort of corner bungalows to sort of hold out. They've got a little compound to try. Well, that's not what they need though, to ensure that.
How many meters is that?
BB are okay. That's insane. That is insane.
Doozy just put him down like that from all the way up there. That's absolutely crazy. That's not what FaZe was expecting either. They were expecting shots from across the road, like they're raining in on Gustav right now, or not Gustav, excuse me, Corexi. You can see it on the minimap. It's the dodge from north. And the other thing you can see in the kill feed is there's still one DK member coming down from that southern side, getting himself a knock onto Twist. Perfectix will go down to Quizzy. DK spending almost the entirety of that game in the blue, so far that they're almost off the map stream. Now punishing Twisted Minds, the winner of our last game, and making sure Perfectix can't even work his way in.
There goes that move from FaZe. So BB have fought for this angle.
Nyx has a mortar.
Oh my god. Is he going to punish? Sorry, the guys won't get knocked more for that here. They can read that. They can track them coming in, right?
I don't think he's shooting up here. I think he's probably shooting Fairy Tail, right? The team in front of them.
A 2-2 split.
Yeah.
Maybe. And they've got drops coming down on them as well, so maybe just hold and wait for the drops to land, then just hammer the drops. Could be. And they have moved into that corner compound as well, so they have time. It's an interesting zone. It's actually Nixie, sorry, that's taking the shots on the mortar. He's going to repack it back up. They need to think about where they come in. For me, VP on fire, it has to be a crash to Fairy Tail.
Yeah, it's gotta be, and that's why I think he's mortaring that. I think he's mortaring the 2 that are playing the roadside that we see here smoking themselves. Those are the ones that should be most vulnerable, and if he gets a knock or 2 on those, that'd be absolutely massive for VP, but generally we do get very excited to see the mortar, and then usually the shots don't connect, right? And now Nyx gets taken out as they try and go for the transition. Couldn't find anything with the mortar. We see them in the kill feed. FaZe, meanwhile, are blowing this up. The dodge, just like that, down 10 HP on Executor. Binnick, the only one that has anything to work with. FaZe might just... I don't think they have to make the push, so I'm surprised they get so aggressive on it, but maybe they just wanted to get some of the pressure off.
I think you're right. 100% agree. It feels like they were just pushing forward just to kind of push them back. No commitment for them. The zone hasn't committed out towards that north side just yet, and FaZe have that corner compound. I'm still intrigued to know if they've got an idea that Max is there. He has started to kind of get involved and sort of launch out util. Effect using a little barrel to his advantage, now playing peekaboo over the top, a little bit of more information gained, and now obviously the shots are coming. They definitely know Max is there. Christoph now knows, and Doozy, well, he has got the knock. I can't quite get the flush just yet.
Oh, Max steals away, but Doozy once again. He's just been such a pain in the backside for FaZe. That molly looks pretty good from Jimbo. I'm not sure if it connected. Doesn't matter. Molodust from the other side cleans it up, and there's another molly from FaZe connected onto one of the dodge players. So lots of util damage coming on out. They've done their homework. We said yesterday, util one of the biggest ways to separate yourselves from the pack, and Phil first picks up another double from the top. 5 for him, 8 for BB. They're finally starting to use all that control they have on the top side, but I'm looking at something there. I'm looking at a Lynx in the hands of Brightside. Oy, oy, oy.
Oh, and he's putting it to use as well. And I had the drops land right on top of him. I'm surprised that VP didn't play this way. I think maybe part and parcel of that mortar. I think BB, though, he's earned the right to sort of punish these teams, and there's another one under the belt. Number 9 for BB team. Well, we've got a top 4. 4 versus 4 versus 3 versus 2. And BB fought, they came, they conquered for the north. Now the zone is starting to leave them, but they are punishing them.
They gotta move down a bit, though. They have a little bit of their hillside still in play, but I think they're gonna be quite open, and Fairy Tail will have a bit of a chance this. You see, that's the terrain exactly that Fairy Tail is looking at. So BB's gotta make something work here. Getting down to the road, not gonna be easy, but at least then you are out of dodge and not getting absolutely blasted anymore by the whole server. So where they end up playing here, I'm not quite sure. Maybe just fly into the rock that Bombi Lovo's playing, some desperation play on that side of the circle, because realistically they're the only ones that have to move in this phase. Do they go into FaZe? Do they go into VP? It's FaZe for now, and it's a drive by Panzer, but it's the pre-nade from James. Taking himself, fight is on.
It is. Oh, another knock comes through. Doozy gets caught in that repeat. He's down to 1, let alone 1 in the chamber. And needs to get a reload back on, as he does. Has to try and get a med. He's only got bandages, and the util dump his store coming through. 1 HP. Bandages only in his back pocket. FaZe might have numbers here, but they haven't got the meds to survive it out.
Ah, this is messy, and this is beautiful to see for the other teams in this lobby, right? Corexi still holding on. Still got the 3 gear. Still got the weaponry to work with. Clutch res coming through onto Doozy. Oh, that's a good blue zone. That's going to put so much pressure onto FaZe. That's going to mean, almost a re-knock, but not quite. They're keeping numbers up. They're keeping 3 up in this, Mark.
But he hasn't got meds. He hasn't got meds. He has to try and figure out what he can do. Oh, he must have shared out there. Crixie's moved back. 9 kills from BB team. This is where it might slow down a little bit. A little bit of the heavy compounds remaining. Fairy Tail been left to their own devices. I am still shocked VP didn't crash that way, so they're going to have kind of an advantage here at the end. Not just the util they've got, not just the weaponry they've got in their back pockets, but the fact that everyone else is stuck in this east and the southeast corner.
Yeah, and look at April as well. Even if you didn't see him there, you can still see him on the minimap now. Goes all the way up the hill, gets himself tons of info, tons of space. He's got to worry about VP a little bit, but he should be able to avoid those angles and just close out every other part of the map. BB, they landed massive nades last game to open the door into Bushido. They have to do it again against FaZe here. This is not going to be easy. 3 man up, different angles, 3 gear, barrels, everything. They're not going to make it easy for them. Corexi has to be careful by playing outside here. He could find himself knock flushed very fast.
I love this. Absolutely love this.
Should be doable.
He's using, you said this the other day, so this is a Monday, right? That you can, in any sort of height advantage, a little ridge, a little barrel, a hood of a car, which you guys call it a bonnet in my world, Anything that can give you just a little bit of elevation, you can still sit in the smoke and look over the top is insane. We'll talk about some insane shots coming through. There comes one back, down to Fex as he has to try and deal with the push though. BBT down to a 2 now as the confirmation is being stolen away from VP. 10 kills as it is a killing spree on the board, but Fex looking to try and overcommits. Doesn't quite catch it. I don't think he knows there's a shot going around the corner, and he's been saved by Beamy. FaZe will fall in 4th. BBT, well, they lose numbers down to a duo.
That was the angle they had to worry about, right? They were just so exposed to VP there from the backlines of VP. They don't only steal 1 kill away, they also get the confirm at the end. They're working for 2nd place here, Mark. They're working to do as much damage as they can before their little hut is out. It's not looking like their hut has a lot of space in the circle left, but even if they stay in one more time, maybe a few smokes. I didn't quite catch what they had to work with, but just 1 or 2 could do the difference. April caught on the transition now. If they would have gotten to flush that out, that would have been huge for BB. But it's looking like a very possible res for Fairy Tail.
Yeah, there's a smoke to try and get across. Blue team, I think, going to try and hold the angle, try and stop the push. Fairy Tail, cautious. Might be a jump and a 360 spin. There goes that shack. Beamy gets caught. And the util dump will come through from Fairy Tail. They've got numbers on their side. They've got the kills against their belt just yet, as both VP and BB have been very explosive in this round. Well, it's explosive, it's just a bit too short. Molly's a little bit better, but still the guys are just about in. Good smoke cover and able to get the res. Lucrux and Beamy looking to try and win this out as a duo.
Almost no space in the circle though. You can't not give this to Fairy Tail, right? Numbers advantage, good amount of space. It would require a massive upset. Besto gets another smoke out with a smoke launcher, but that's a far one. You have a big gap to cross to even get to that point. And you can see VP, they're ready waiting for this. They put up the folded shield now. A few shots come in. That's a good nade to buy another few seconds. And now BB, they've got to go. They can't even have an anchor play anymore. They've just got to run it down, and surely the swing will come out. Luca finds the first, finds the second. What is that? You telling me that man's not cracked? 6 frags,
They're
16
done. Oh my
for VP.
days, explosive. You ain't getting these 2 kills. 16 kills. See you later. We had this in our back pocket, though, just to tab it out. That is a great game from VP. Not just the kills, Kowo, but the fact they went, lads, you ain't catching up. We're not even going to give you these 2 kills. You can have the additional.
April
did he get one?
Yeah, he got the nade in time. Yeah, he got the nade in time.
Love it.
But still, perfect from VP. That nade as well, I love it. That nade to buy it themselves 2 more seconds, and you could see a Doozy. He wanted to hold this with the SLR, but he was already so deep in the blue because he had to wait for the nade to come off, right? So, stealing the show there a little bit, but we can't forget that Fairy Tail is the team who actually wins the game.
Do you feel like I thought it was like seeing of 2 halves, right? VP very much early on, right? We saw early engagement from Eternal Fire. That felt like pack hunting, borderline bullying, right? They kind of just picked one off at a time. They isolated their target and they just went for a full set. And then the latter half, it felt like it was going a bit to BB, especially when we saw that transition towards the north. BB had to make the commitment. It was like, hey guys, we need to go. We need to take the fight. And once BB had cleared the team, they had so much freedom just to punish the teams that are remaining in the town.
Yeah, it was honestly really well played from a lot of these teams in the game. FaZe as well, right? FaZe sweeping their way on through a lot of their opponents there, getting a lot of the frags, even getting some of the frags on BB until they essentially get third. But this one I loved from Celtic, leaving Dante alive because Dante can help them win against BB, right? And then Navante gets the 1 knock, Celtic gets another. If he doesn't get naded there, it's a clean 2v2 and it's super winnable. But Philfist on the other side keeps his wits to himself. Blues on push, even without the jammer pack, and it's enough to keep BB alive and they just get themselves a big finish in this game.
It is a very big finish, and this is their freedom. This is where they're kind of like their points started to rack up. Good send for them, even with the Panzer. There's that hold that you're talking about, and unfortunately the guy said no. But you said they got the nade come in. There's one. Did get it. Good call, mate. Fairy Tail pick up additional point to winner chicken dinner. Fairy Tail with 3. It's a 13-point game, but nothing to take away from the 16 kills in the 2nd place, though, from VP and the huge kills from BBD.
Yeah, big games for a lot of teams at the top there. It's going to be interesting to see how that reflects on the scoreboard, right? Because some of these teams were somewhat towards the top, but I think a Fairy Tail, for example, they were 7th, right? So they're not going to close the gap all the way with that game, but a BB team or a VP is just constant, like running away with it now. BB team trying to play catch up, VP with that game. They have created the gap that wasn't there in the first place. So they're looking good to take first place here with 2 more games remaining. There's a lot that can still happen, but they have made a big step towards winning this one, Mark.
You have, and obviously for those that are out in chat, obviously there's 2 parts of this we're looking for. Top 4 have got $1,000 that they're going to duke themselves out. Lion Show, the prize pool obviously goes for the top and it works its way down, but you guys also have to keep an eye for that top 8. Why? Because they'll be the one securing the spot to the next stage of the TPP. For now, we're going to secure a spot in the break. When we come back, it's time to Rondo. Welcome back to the PUBG Player Cap. it is halfway through, obviously, our best of 8. This is day number 2. Rondo, Miramar done. Here comes the excitement because we've got time to Rondo before we get our crossover towards Erangel. But before we get into the madness that's going to be Rondo, I think we need to have a look at the facts and figures because we've only 2 more games to go. We are starting to see a slight divide, and with VP storming the way, they put themselves on top with 70 points. That felt like a change for me from VP in that round.
Yeah, that felt like everything went right, and they're going to be really happy about how that game went, right? There's nothing better than starting really aggressive, and it just works. Even if you play a slow game like Fairy Tail did, and you position yourselves nicely, and you get the win, that doesn't feel as good as getting 16 frags, right? It just doesn't. It's the perfect morale boost. It's the perfect kind of momentum. And 20 placement points and 50 frags stands testament to that.
Insane. 50 kills. GG's. As just before the break, obviously there's 2 parts that we're looking for. Our top 4 for the prize pool, that's going to be divvied out, but more of that top 8. Now, there has been a few movers and shakers. BB had a good game in game number 2. That has put them into a top 8 position. Now, started a little bit lower down on that right-hand side. I feel like BB also have a good amount of momentum so far today. And they don't have that much of a gap between them. Let's excuse first, all right, for the moment. But I have a big gap between sort of 8th all the way through to kind of arguably a 2nd or 3rd. They could, if they have another really good, strong game, they could maybe launch up that leaderboard even more.
They could, and then the other side of the coin is the teams that have really fallen off. Na'Vi a little bit. They've got themselves a few points today, but a team like Esports, they started the day on 36 points mark. They haven't been able to get anything going in the last 2. We saw them taking a fight there on the southern side. That didn't work out. It was honestly a really hard circle for them, but keep in mind, this was a Yongchong ending, right? And they're the Yongchong team, so they're going to be really unhappy about how this went, and they might go back and reconsider a little bit how they played this one. I'm not saying they played it wrong. Sometimes that is the way the circles go, right? But they're not going to be happy about how this went, and they're going to be looking to redeem themselves to at least stay in the top 8.
That's the way the circles crumble. Now, you're right, though. That is their drop spot. They shouldn't have opted to go that far out. I thought when they saw the move and they had that 2-2 split, I thought they were going to collapse inside a bit, but they still opted to go to the top. Then they had to go aggressive at that point. They weren't going back into the town. They played on that south side. And obviously there was a lot of players that already moved towards the south. I do want to highlight though, Slam, they actually played very much across on that sort of east. They then moved their way around to the sort of south side of the map. They tried to gain kills. I kind of felt like it fell apart though when they tried to push back over the bridge. They went kind of full send. They arguably had a little bit more time that they could try and pick apart the fight that was happening on the other side of the bridge before moving over. So I think they might be a little bit disappointed they weren't able to get more points out of that game.
Disappointed for sure, but they still have 2 more games to correct all of that, right? And we have another game for you guys. I'm not gonna make the pun. We are just going to Rondo, and we're going to the third map. No puns, no. Out.
No, get out your condo. It's time to Rondo.
There's no condos. God damn it, Mark.
Gotta love it. It's a good flight path, though, and it's only 1 player. We've got east across to the west. It was so close. Maybe one day I'll get you to do one. I love that one. That's a Martin one. I actually really like that one. That's a good one. This is not a bad flight path. I'm really intrigued to see if we get Na'Vi and Twisted Mind share things up. I think the double flight path that we had on Monday opted for it not to be. It looks like it is going to be back to normal. Everything has been restored.
I really thought we could dodge the Rondo puns. Not with you, I guess. You're infected. You're part of them now. It is.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, mate. We've got a lot of TPP to be casting, mate. So
yeah. Maybe I gotta come up. Maybe I gotta come up with my own puns to just fight back in some way or form. But yeah, 2 more games. We'll have to wait and see what the players got in store for us. VP once again around that Yulin area, being a little aggressive towards the south. They like to get their feelers out and look for cars down there. Yulin is just not enough for a team as hungry as them. BB are going to be under a little bit of pressure to get out of there in time. I can already see Molodos. He's danger close to Arthur, to EB and Nix here.
Yeah, I think he's just got the car he has. Zone does play up towards that sort of top side. Yeah, he's clear. He's clear. They were chasing him down. Monodoc does opt to fall towards the south. So BB will go towards their normal drop spot. They've got the cars. They go to Hangsheng. I think they'll be looking for an E pickup maybe, or going for a longer rotation. Jaden City's been conquered as well. But pretty much spread. Most of the teams have taken a primary drop spot. Na'Vi, I do worry a little bit Na'Vi with their drop spot in the factory co-op, because recently they've been putting 2 in there and leaving 1 on the outside. And for a team as a neighbour, as nice as Twisted Minds is, if they do that, I think we're going to start to see Na'Vi getting caught out a few times, or at least one of the players getting isolated.
There's 2 things I worry about. That is one thing. I think there's also a bit of a factor with Twist as well. If we start messing with Na'Vi again, then they're going to start messing with us again, and then we're both going to be suffering.
Yeah.
And then there's the topic of internationals, right? You're not always playing in the same lobby, so yes, you may be having Twist as your neighbor for one of these events. Next event, it might be somebody else. Fairest drive scout in the compound. Celtic not ratting inside, not letting him drive in, lets him know right away, and that means Fairest should be staying alive for now, and should be getting back into that compound that we were scouting just a few minutes ago.
Yep. A map that gets caught from a lot of rotations, but good to see swap though from Forest. It takes off the damage, and obviously the car with the momentum shift keeps on moving. Well, the momentum for Geek. Quizzy's back. He has returned. Said he was ill on Monday, unfortunately, so they had the coach Haruzan, the super sub, playing for them. They now opt to rotate. They dropped a little bit not too far south of here, so they will play in. Quizzy is the pinnacle point in the north for the team. I think they will try and wait. PWD, that's by getting the information of the team rotating past him. Good couple of shots, but doesn't quite connect the bolty.
Not quite connecting. Most satisfying kills to get, hardest kills to get at the same time. Na'Vi now consolidated. The teams we were just talking about coming into the vicinity. ADR is blasting through this, but I see a Kim there very, very late. Bit separated from the rest of the squad. If he loses a tire here, this could become quite dicey for him. Quizzy not interested in it at all, though. So he might be getting himself away. No scope for Stide either. Lots of eyes on him right now, the new Na'Vi pickup. So far, nothing crazy coming out from him.
I am interested to see the international circuit. Na'Vi and GK. We'll have to wait and see for that one. For now, I think too explosive, and you're right, Na'Vi not really transitioning on the leaderboard. And despite having a really consistent day number 1, it's only a couple of kills have banged today. 2 more games, well, this one plus 1 more to finish things off. And as from a top 4 point of view, obviously that is the money side, and obviously the top 8, as I said before, is the placement towards the next step. And for those that keep asking in chat, I'll have a quick look. Yes, this is a TPP tournament, not an FPP tournament. The players can go in between FPP and TPP. That's down to the players. More importantly, this is the gateway. Bring in more people like yourself that are in chat that want to try and get involved. Have a chance to get the money. Just play the scrims next week. They'll be kicking or back off on Monday. We'll make sure we get some information for you all in chat. Sign up with your team. Get as many scrims under your belt. Get enough points against your team's name. You'll find yourself here with me and Ko casting you out and see if you will be able to get the money or a top 8 position.
I said this on Monday. I'll say it again. I want to see some of the keyboard warriors square off in these lobbies. I want to cast some of them and see if they're actually made of the tough stuff that they're putting out there. And everybody has a chance to get into these events. They're not closed off. They're very, very open. These qualifiers starting on the 31st already. First set of scrims. You don't have to play all 4 sets of scrims, but it definitely does help to acquire the points. You're gonna be meeting some strong teams in there, like the Gaming Gladiator lads. You're also gonna be finding guys just like yourself, trying to figure out this TPP thing. Pull-up is in full effect. 2-man for Bushido. Iroh is well known, but...
Oh my god! How did he get away with that?
Metebe got his as well. I was going to say, this is turning dangerous, but Metebe finding 2 makes this doable now, but I think it's a little too late. Levante is already there to close out the situation, and look at this. Snellcop, he can't even get up the hill. He can't even get into the vicinity. Bushido punished so early.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Bushido will fall. GG. Gaming Gladiator to be able to get their reses back on. And 100 ADR pulled up at perfect timing for one team. Maybe not the other. Back to your point, though. Yeah, I have also been playing a bit of TPP. And I can confirm, like everybody knows in chat, it is a very, very different game. So something about the maps and the guns and all that sort of jazz is the same. But how it unfolds is insane. And it is good fun. Until apart, losing one. Beamy does get one knock. Looking for the second underclock. So is down. So we'll pop a smoke for a bit of cover. The match on a bit of an off angle. There's that confirmed. First point on the board now for VP. They've got to be cautious. I think sometimes even in TPP co you get caught looking one way and you forget actually the off angles. Because you don't know exactly where your body's tucked in.
Absolutely. That's one of the challenges when you're starting out. That is a very perfectly flipped car there. I want to point that out. That was very, very beautiful. Basically exactly on its side to provide the maximum amount of cover. The pull-ups in full effect. VP ain't stopping. Eevee is a bit isolated here though. Ketpa puts him down. Luca not able to trade. Now caught in the open.
Wow.
And they're a little overzealous, Mark. They got a little overheated. Yes, they got the entrance into it on fire, but this has turned back on its head very, very quickly.
Look, come off a 16 kill game. There's a bit of energy that might be in the VP party. That turn on fire are starting to extinguish. 2 remain. And 2 remain now for VP. Consolidate, reset, go again. Now on 70 points. There's an argument to say they could have maybe one throwaway game before someone challenges them. They need Twisted Minds, maybe Gaming Gladiators to have a really big game here. To kind of challenge that spot. But for now, it's phase number 1. We're down to 52 players. Of 16 teams, as we saw, I think it was Kilikai run over 2 of the Fairy Tale guys as they rotate in on that southwest corner.
Points for Ascend, much needed. They want to break into that top 8. Taking out 2 of the squad who won the last game is going to feel nice. They caught them in rotation, I assume. And they're now looking to chase that down a little bit, because why not chase a weakened team, right? There's no easier fight you're going to find on this map. And the team you've already killed 2 of. They've got to be a little bit careful though. The Bet Boom squad is ready. And they have a doozy. And there's Glider Wars again. Brex on the one side, a doozy on the other. A doozy has a Dragonhof and a barrel. Brex gotta be careful. That's a headshot. What?
What a shot. A doozy, king of the skies. Takes him down. Top Gun, Maverick himself. And a doozy, well, he's hunting his next target. He just lined up perfectly. He was too eager to take it. He waited for the shot and it was perfect.
Oh my.
Love it.
I am obviously, with my extremely objective and unbiased opinion, I was always a big fan of Brex and the Glider, and I think he gets away with a lot of things you usually wouldn't be, but man, he just got absolutely outgunned. He just got put down, and you can see the effect it has. Ascend is sort of just sitting and waiting now. They're waiting for BB to leave and pick whatever spot they want to play, and then they are gonna follow and try to pick up the scraps. Sloppy seconds, because they have just lost their air support. They have lost all the information that they were gathering before. That's gonna sting.
That is a big loss. Ascend do, not going to say rely on it, rely is the wrong word, but they do use that ability, that special ability to their advantage, especially on some of the bigger maps. And with this map having the additional gliders in, so interested to see how they adapt to it. But that was insane. I wish they had a different like animation gif or like little logo for getting shot out of a glider in that top corner. I think that would have been cool. But that spray with the barrel, I think he was just too flat. He didn't opt to pitch or send the descend.
You can generally dodge a lot of the bullets by turning away from the shots, because that will turn your glider and that will show them the bottom side of your glider, right? That's what the glider pilots use a lot to dodge the bullets. They become incredibly hard to shoot, and you have to be an absolute wizard to bend the bullets around the glider if somebody's turning away from you. But he wasn't really ready for it at all. Maybe the comms weren't there. Maybe he just had a bit of a different idea. Maybe he was just caught up in just trying to track all the rest of BB team. And he does get punished there, and Ascend as a team get punished quite hard. As it's not only losing a member in a glider. I honestly think the glider is an insane amount of value, so losing that player really, really stings.
Yeah. So I think the speed of the glider, I don't think everyone's really got it locked down just yet. GK, well, Diffix is trying to sort of joystick PWD, who's Lexus Cybersport, into a position to take the fight for 100 ADR. As on the other side, though, we can see lots of madness happening for Esports. So taking some shots, Kilikai will go down. Pixel gets confirmed there. They're going for a bit more of a send. We've seen a few endings in this area. I'm not a fan. This might favour, especially a TPP style. Shepard sort of sit in these bowls, these rivers. That's into an element of safety before the zone obviously pings away. For now, still 14 teams up. A little bit of water remains. All these teams now split out. I'm a bit concerned as a few of our teams are now down to solos.
Yeah, you can see a send there getting picked apart on the send, trying to get themselves a spot in zone, trying to get themselves something playable. Now Chris, he's close to the bridge. I'm not sure how much the Dodge knows about him. If they do, he's in trouble. If they don't, he might just be okay, but going to be left to his own devices regardless. Not in the best of spots. Has he been able to at least sink his car into the water? I think he has, so it's going to make him a little bit more undercover. It's going to mean he has a chance at least of being unknown, but again, going to be tricky. Going to be hard to get back into the game. PewDiddy finds one onto ADR on the other side of things. Two teams that have been involved in the scraps here in this valley. Circle goes northwest. Means all of these teams are watching right now, including GG from the top. There's Xens.
Oh, wow.
They got a bit of moving to do.
How did Diffix not pick him up? Diffix should have kept eyes on his player, maybe locked into the fight. Xens does go down. Roxwell, a little bit further afield. Down to 2 now. Can't really see GG engaging anymore. Both of them are in zone. Not very much in sort of a northeast position. Spyro, Diffix, who a little bit more on the high ground, kind of joysticking the rest of the team again into sort of 100 ADR, but with that knock, should be able to get the reses back on. There's some great shots though. Diffix down to 1. Doesn't quite get the connection. This Gaming Gladiators as well, still hold with a duo on 4 kills.
And Roxy's kind of come alive in this score. He's always been one of the quieter ones, I think, with big names on the team, like Levante dishing out insane amounts of damage, but Roxy's really been getting himself into sort of that second fragger spot there. He's been dishing out a good bunch of damage in these last 6 games or so. This GK barely get away with it there, almost losing Diffix. We'll keep numbers up for now and we'll try to make this push happen. Util has got to help them a whole bunch because there will still, I think, be a whole lot of shots raining down from GG from the top.
Yeah, this is difficult to hold as well here. You've got a few angles you can poke out, but with GG holding higher ground, scrap that. 1 high ground now. GG do get involved. 100 ADR, find it hard. I'm going to find Geeky. I don't think they know exactly where their knocks come in. PWD, Lexus Subsport needs to work his way down. Diffix though with the MG. It's going to rip apart 100 ADR if they want to try and peek that way. Don't forget, he's got that ridge line. He can use that to his advantage where the angle we've got, oh my god, maybe not anymore. Scrap that. Big nade comes in. Diffix is down. It's down to 1 more player here. GK got to move forward. He's got a limited amount of time to get to Quizzy. I'd argue this out. I don't think he's going to make it.
Might make it to Quizzy, but even then they've got a whole lot further to move. Spyro just came across the bridge just now. Diffix, he's knocked so close. Now PewDiddy taking shots as well. Has to go for that res very soon. Spyro's going to go for the other one, and then they still have a 4v2. This is still not over, but they are definitely seeing some obstacles in their path. Now Quizzy does bleed out. And Spyro, he's not even going that close. He doesn't want to take the risk, obviously, to just get blasted out of his vehicle, so he's going to go for a bit of a different approach. Gets himself on the side of GG there towards the hilltop, but again, this is something we talked about. Defending positions in third person, a whole lot easier than it used to be in first person.
100%. Saw this zone the other day. Actually, got a little bit more towards the west. The BB team on that north side, they were holding the high ground really well. Project X is a good spot. It's Chris actually let 2 pass, so kind of screaming to me that they don't know he's there. So
Yeah.
if time right, if he's got the meds, might be able to come in quite late, though, on the dodge, and I don't know if they're going to be able to dodge the bullet that's called it's Chris.
It's gonna be a bit of a tall task though, and then there is also a send on the hilltop that do know about him, so there's some way that this can go all sorts of wrong. Sparrow finds Wubuki, finally an opener for EK in that long drawn out battle that we had in the valley, as Batulins keeps dishing out the damage. We saw him take out Paints earlier, now he takes up right side. Twisted Minds a little bit more quiet in our second game of the day, but they're not done for the night.
No, they're a team that can dig it deep as well, so they know they've got 2 more games, or at least close the gap down. That's what you can see. Great shots though. There's Vex with the bolty. Down Perfectix. Between GK and Na'Vi, while they do pick apart the last of 100 ADR. GK needs to move forward. Na'Vi, GG, all need to move in from the sort of east across to the west. Footy Sports at the very bottom, or the point of which the riverbed starts to split. But it's going to be punishing. That was pretty close. That was bang on.
It's his knock. He got a mortar knock.
Yeah, he did. And then it's he's going to have another one. He knows exactly where to start in, and it's super close as well. Look where he is. That's a straight up and straight back down. Oh! Is that as close as he can go? Surely 0 it back. Another knock comes in. Yeah, he can't get any closer, can he?
Yeah, that might be the thing. Example taking a lot of damage from the other side.
Oh no!
GG's coming on in. Look at this. Oh no, this is not good for Twist. They're blowing up from all sides. Levante, he's got one more where that came from. I'm not sure if that nade already finds Perfectix. There's a double nade as well. Levante does. Example, his days are absolutely numbered. 10 HP, another nade with his name on it.
Oh wow.
And just like that, Twist, some say the best team in the world. Well, they're out of this lobby. It's a 2-man from GG that does it.
It's a 2-man push. I haven't had many options, and they took the option to go ahead of Footy Sports, though. And GK. Solo. Ranger from Ferrets out. Actually catching Pixel. Field confirmed. T-Bone holding the angle here. The nade's getting cooked as they all go straight through. Let's go underneath. Doesn't quite get the connection. Phase number 4. Well, it's going to sting a little bit here. I don't know how much more. Use the smoke to try and block those shots. A good molly, a good nade. Should stop it. Scrap that. A good shot from T-Bone. Well, it's going to put him down. Fairy Tale will fall in 10th.
Battle of the East finally done. Done and dusted. Foot gotta get themselves up that road. Gotta make a move either towards Dodge or towards GG. I suspect they'll just be sliding along that roadside, trying to take some fights ahead of them. That's what Foot loves to do. On the other side, we got Beamy still alive soloing. We got Chris still alive soloing. A lot of snakes that teams can step on, and I've got a feeling that Project X and the Dodge, they have no idea about what's coming their way. Taking down Vex though, gonna make things a little bit easier for the Dodge.
They are. It's the fight for the high side, isn't it? The snakes in the grass of Rondo. I think they are going to have a really big impact a little bit later on. The Dodge, and kills on the board. They have lost them at the moment. They are taking the fight now towards Foot, and they also split on the other side though towards FaZe. Na'Vi wrapping their way back. Dodge seems to be doesn't know which way they want to go at the moment. So they're just getting knocked left, right, and centre. But boys, it needs to be rezzed. They are moving back, and I think they've just spotted Chris. They have. Chris down to 1. Chris down. Chris is out. 9th place. That's unfortunate, and that's actually been caused because Footy Sports took some heavy shots at the Dodge. They had to turn back and run north.
Yeah. It's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Timings, other things in the lobby that you really don't have anything to do with. They can do so much about your success or lack thereof. Chris will get taken out just because of that. BB is still 4-man strong. Coming in from that southern side. They will have to deal with Project X a little bit, but they should be able to just shoo them away. Na'Vi as well. Pretty stuck on their side of the road. So very doable for BB. Coming in from that southern side. Then we still have a FaZe clan who's just waiting to get out of that compound mark.
Yeah. I think they're trying to now farm the information that's around them, right? And the Dodge, well, is still continuing to move back. But for now, run into a bit more danger. The danger of the bolt shot. Scrap that.
Yes.
The danger of the bolt shot as Max hits a weldy of a heady as the car tries to hit, and he's just trying to keep me out of the car, keep me safe. Max is like, nah, mate, you are done.
You're done for. Knock and flush. Love to see a bolt connect. He had a few tries at that, but he does connect in the end.
He was zeroing it in, that was all. He's just getting the distance. It was the wind speed across Rondo that was putting him off.
Yeah. Not good news for the Dodge. Trying to send middle as well. 15 seconds before circle pop. That's always a bit of a rough task. Levante knocked by a doozy. As they are taking more and more space, there's a little bit more util where they came from. Filfers has a good angle as well. Now Molodos pulls on up. He's going to connect the nades surely. First it has come through, and I've seen a P90 there. But another nade towards the bus, towards the smoke. That should do the trick. And just like that, BB, clean it up. Take the space. It will start to try and take control on that southern side. The only team that's really got a lot to say about this is FaZe Clan, I believe.
Well, yeah, they've kind of been left to their own devices in the compound, right? Only one kill on the board and looking to try and get some more. BB team storming ahead. I think number 7 I saw on the board for BB. Eager to try and make the push over. Eager to try and get the defense here. T-Bone taking an extra bolty action over. And there comes the peek over the top. There's a big nade. There's 1-2. But Fex nearly holds back. But it's clean. 1-2. Deleted. Both teams gone. It's ensured destruction between FaZe and Esports. The util ends it all.
Oh no, they're all gone. They're all wiped off the map. Suddenly we're down to 4 teams. One of those is Beamy in the blue. Finds one onto best of luck. Rough times for BB. They were hoping to just clap down Na'Vi, but they do drive into the blue solo. The blue healing king himself. Now, gotta deal with Na'Vi and the solo at the same time. Beamy looking to make the push onto a doozy there on the sides as well, so lots of things on their plate right now, but they do find the opening onto Hakatori. They do at least get things going. A doozy takes down Beamy. Things are doable here for BB.
Things are doable. BB team. 3 still remain. Taking 3 versus Na'Vi. Nades will roll in towards the smoke. Does cause some damage here. Doozy a little bit further around. So again, a Blue Zone nade will cause some damage here as well. Phil First though doesn't need the util as he will get the knocks. Try and get the flush. I don't know if he knows Ferris is here, but Max is going to come back again. Great shots for him. It's still 3 versus 1. As VP, well, Beamy found his way a 4th position.
That was all the openness that Project X could have wished for. Everybody is just battling it out on the south here. They need to take control now. They need to take the space, and Acalyptos has gotten himself a good spot with that MK. Tires get popped. Space gets closed on out. They just got 4 players left to deal with. If Filfers can get flushed out, that will make things even easier. Not a ton of util left for Project Extreme, and remember they lost a player early. But still, Mark, this is the game that they just have to win.
Yeah, they need to double their points up, really. Only 2 kills at the moment. Need to really convert this win and try and convert as many of these kills as they can. Well, 10 have been taken away from BB. There's 1 DBNO. Scrap that 2 DBNO as they get knocked down. It might be down to Monodoct, but even argument to say a top 3 position, if not more, with 10 kills against their name is a good game number 3.
Game number 3. Now, Ferris, that was your game number 3. That was your game number 7 of the tournaments. Tournament 3v1, Molodust. He's got it all to do. He knows now as well. He should be well aware that that's Na'Vi out. He's just delaying a little bit. Surely going to stand up at some point. Going to try to find a good timing, maybe. Going to try to find somebody that's pushing in the open. Somebody he can punish. But they don't have to give him a whole lot. The circle is not really in his favor. They don't have to storm down the mountains, yet they will, but it's enough. Max, from the top, connects onto the bolt. And Project X with a 6-kill win, they start putting themselves back in the conversation here.
Well, it does double up their points. Was there like 11 coming into this? Yeah, there were. So that's what they needed. They need to do it again in order to sort of double up, but they need to maximize more kills. Had a good amount of zone. I think the West was very quiet compared to the East, and we saw just unfold, and it definitely felt like a fight for the higher side. I'm still shocked though. For Esports and FaZe Clan just kind of cross each other out at the very end there, and it was so quick.
It was so quick. They all just kind of blew up. That blue zone taking the last one out. But you're shocked about that. I'm shocked about the fact that we finally got to see glider to glider gameplay. We finally got the aerial warfare that we were all hoping for. We got denied a little bit with Foot Ascend in the PEC last weekend. Now we finally got to see it, and it was over very quickly. A doozy headshot, body shot, out.
Yes, observers. Absolutely love it. Mayday! Mayday! I don't think he was ready for it. And Jeremy don't think he was ready for it. I thought he was just waving. And Doozy had a different type of wave. And he shared some 7.62 in the face of Brexaco then. But Ascend, they can't rely on being king of the sky at the moment. The team eager to try and take that back. It's a good ending. I like the push here from GG, obviously with the help from BB on the adjacent side. But one thing, every game that I seem to cast at the moment with TPP, there's one thing that kind of sinks with me in what you said on Monday. Utility is key, and I felt like this map showed it a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not only is it harder to push in first person with your gun, right? Because people can see you coming. It's also easier to nade because you just see more and you see things earlier. That's Bard coming over the top, putting in a big 2, but not enough.
Wow.
Not enough for Esports. Actually, not sure if that's Vard or ATC. Honestly, I thought Vard was Daybuster, but then I'm honestly not even sure anymore what's going on with the Foot names there. But like you said, everything blows up on that hilltop, and then BB take a ton of control, but just Beamy in their backlines, costing them a member, means they're not just able to win the game anymore at all.
Insane. Pretty much ensured destruction. Well, we're ensured that game 3 is under our belt, aka game number 7. We've only got one more to go before we have to crown not just the prize pool kings and queens out there, but also our top 8. Who's going to punch the ticket through to the next stage? Let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in the final round.
8 years of Battlegrounds bliss. Updates to several arcade modes. And a new Survivor Pass. All this and more as we dive into the Update 34.2 patch report. First up, we're celebrating 8 glorious years of Battle Royale mayhem. You'll find anniversary decorations across the various maps and on some of PUBG's most iconic objects and locations, including care packages, energy drinks, the plane, and various locations across Erangel. The starting island also features an 8th anniversary BobbleBot statue with special golden grenades to throw at it to see your name up in lights. We're even collaborating with M83 for a brand new BGM track for the anniversary. This milestone wouldn't be possible without your dedication throughout the years. So on behalf of the entire PUBG Battlegrounds team, thank you for 8 wonderfully chaotic years. And speaking of your dedication, thanks to your testing, we were able to make some meaningful adjustments to the aim punch settings following the Gunplay Labs aim punch we ran in January. We're now planning on a second round of Gunplay Labs in March to test the new settings, so stay tuned for details. Next up, the arcade is getting a couple of adjustments. Team Deathmatch has several new maps to enjoy, including Destin Arena, Vikendi Train Station, and Sanhok Camp Bravo. We've also adjusted map selection probabilities, added destruction to Sanhok, and changed up the spawn kit. For Intense Battle Royale, the layout of safe zones, supply drops, and vehicles are now random in all maps. The starting Molotov has been swapped to a frag grenade, a random LMG crate has been added, and we've activated destruction on Sanhok. For fans of custom matches, you can now bring in 100 people, up from the previous 24. Last but not least, we're reverting the max player count for Hot Drop back up to 64 players for even more intense action, while also slightly lowering the atom spawn rate. You can check out full details on all these changes in the patch notes. There's also a brand new Survivor Pass available to collect, as well as various bug fixes, so be sure to check out the patch notes for full details on everything. Update 34.2 is here. So put on your party hat, grab a golden grenade, and hit up the arcade. Happy 8th anniversary, PUBG fans. We'll see you on the Battlegrounds.
Let's go. Our final game, round number 8, is upon us. Or just upon us. We do load the players in towards the plane, check them down, remove all the util that they've clawed their way through. It has been explosive, though, 7 games. And we've only played 1 map each time. It has been the opportunity, though, if they failed once, they get a second chance at it, but at least not one in a day. I actually really like that you only play 1 Erangel, 1 Miramar, 1 Tego, 1 Rondo. It does have to bring out the best every single time. That last map, though, Kyle, was really explosive. We saw teams already util dumps, sending them out the lobby. What's to be expected, though, Erangel? We've got some teams that are a bit short when it comes down to leaderboard, but actually, like, they need to have a huge impact here if they want to get into a top 8 position or into a top 4.
Yeah, so there's a few teams that are almost out of the runnings here. And Eternal Fire, they cannot salvage this tournament in 1 game. It's probably not going to happen. But then everybody up sort of from maybe Dodge Ascend. Maybe that's where you draw the line, right? Because 42 on Fairy Tail is quite a lot. So there is a bit of a gap. We have to be honest here. But it's entirely possible for a Project X or a FaZe Clan especially to fight their way back into this top 8. And then we're also looking at a pretty stacked top here, especially when you look to 2nd to 4th. Right, that is incredibly close. That is basically a best of 1 between GG, Navi, and Twist. And then if you want to beat Versus Pro, you're gonna have some big shoes to fill, right? You're gonna have to play a big game here if you're GG. But yeah, the top 4 is quite contested, and then there's a few teams still battling it out for that top 8. A GK who's kind of fallen out of favor today, or a FaZe Clan in the last game, right? They just start getting explosive, and they get stopped in their tracks immediately.
Yeah, I feel like Gaming Gladiators of all teams, if they could have an explosive game. VP feel like on fire for me, but you're right, that kind of 2nd all the way down is going to be an interesting final game. You're going to Erangel. It's the last game now from this TPP event. I'm excited to see things. Look, for me, I think it's time. Let's just get into it. It's game number 8. The plane path is getting due. We got to see what happens here. And it's down to these teams here. Flight path, well, it's northeast, down towards the southwest, right through the heart, the soul, the grassy pastures that's Erangel. This should be an explosive game if you're in the top side of the leaderboard.
Oh, I've never heard them get called the grassy pastures before. That's crazy.
Is, mate. I said the greeny pastures the other day, which I got caught out on by the guys. It was just green. It's just the first thing that came to my mind.
Hard Drop and Yasna, I think that's looking very much like we got Fairy Tail and ADR both heading for Yasna again, which, well, if you're Fairy Tail, I'm not sure how advisable that is. They are a team that likes to mess about. They are a team that likes to get into things, but they are right on the cutoff, right? They are the 8th place team. If any team wants to make sure that they get a few points this game, it will be Fairy Tail. So them going for the hot drop here shows guts, but I'm not sure if, as a bit of a sweaty, nerdy analyst myself, I approve of this decision.
Yes, this is not co-host stamped. I love it. But if we rewind, though, to day number 1, this happened day number 1. And one thing I will say with TPP is that the hot drops are not quite as hot. They're more like lukewarm. And then we just added a spark, which was FaZe, who came storming into Yaz, because we had kind of this sort of zone as well. And actually, as a result, Fairy Tail fell short. And you're right, this is a game they cannot fall short. 180 have nothing to lose at the moment. They're sitting in 15th place, Ko. They've only really clawed themselves kills. They've struggled with placement so far, but they're looking to secure the kills and maybe deny that 8th spot, though, because a GK, a FaZe, or even a Project Extreme with a really explosive final game number 8 will be happy to see Fairy Tail fall so early on in this game.
Yeah, that would open the door. That would make things a little more interesting for everybody on the chase. Circle centers up around a bit north of Shelter, that junkyard area. Twist maybe gonna send Lou on a mission here to secure one of these compounds, new compound, something that might be quite interesting for an Eternal Fire. FaZe probably staying around where Fex and Jeems already are. And you can see as well, Fairy Tail, they're already getting out of Yaz with these 2 players, right? Quite early on. They didn't even land there with all 4. They might not be all too interested in this hot drop, and ADR looting up around the apartments, looting towards the Esports spawn. Might not even find a fight here, and they might both be quite happy about this.
It might be. FaZe has conquered a lot of trains. So Bushido, actually, very much in the east. They're pretty much spread out. They got the pick of the litter wherever they want to try and play. You mentioned, obviously, Twisted Minds, Eternal Fire, normal drop zone for them. Expect them to try and claim some high ground across the Snake Road, that road just north of them. GK, GG, Ascend, all need to sort of work in. Where do they sort of clash paths? How close do you go towards that kind of hillside, Potato Hill, where Na'Vi Forest is sitting at the moment? And then you've got the north side. VP could maybe try and close the bridges, close the gap in towards the north of Yaz. Depends on which way you come down. And BB, well, this is BB's alternate drop there. Their secondary drop spot. Footy Sports be very much aware of that based on this flight path. So I think there is also a race here in the northeast corner of who comes in where at what time.
It's always tricky. You know the ult drops of the other teams, right? You know that Foot's here, you know that BB wants to be here, but you still gotta sort of sort everything out. Make sure you're not clashing all too much. Make sure you're not contesting each other by mistake, because you might not even want to. Eternal Fire here are in a bit of a precarious spot. Maybe we're scouting the new compound. Maybe they still are. They have now seen FaZe Clan at least. They have gotten the information, but they're looking like they're a little interested here, Kitba. He's not in for a quiet game. He is in for some early action, and he will run it down towards the new compound.
I love that he's got this kind of Street Fighter, Sparta dress up here for the final game. It's getting close. I think that car's going to Ziki its way down. So the moment it hits that wall, it's going to be known. Does he get caught out in the open? Okay, Marco's there. FaZe doesn't look like they're fully positioned on this just yet, but they should be hearing the footsteps now. Gustav, Correxy, they're on the defense. FaZe on a huge split. Can the other two collapse in? It's down to Eternal Fire to try and claw some kills out of this one.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. It's Eternal Fire's game right now, and it looks like FaZe did not even have an idea just yet. Gustav on the vault, instantly caught. Just like that, it is just Correxy left in the compound. Maids that have his name on it. He's going out the back, looking to find a fight into the mat. But the mat's not giving him anything just yet. Gotta be careful, you don't want to get flushed out in the 1 versus 4, but he's looking wide away. Is he gonna see him in the smoke? Yes, he does. And just like that, Correxy out.
Love it, absolutely love it. Look, good push. Eternal Fire Hadouken their way through to that compound. Fakes did come pretty close. He went to that north side of the road. He had the bolty in action, but obviously with 2 down, retracting back to kind of that shelter. That may be the better play for them. Twisted Minds pushed their way further in towards zone, taking a bit of a bigger 2-2 split now. As we've got 3 minutes 55 left on the clock here. So there is match number 8. This is our final match, though. As it used to a best of 6 a day, it's not going to be a best of 12. And Project, well, hello, welcome to our compound. 100 ADR will fall down. Here comes the push, but no initial shots coming over the hill. Re-divert the attention of Project Extreme.
Just like that, they did find their early action. Didn't find the Yaz hot drop, but do find a bit of early action. Hicks on the other side finds a flush onto next. Second game, he's been going out early. So VP definitely slowing it down a bit. Not finding the same success, but they don't need to find the same success. They just need to stay in the seat to close this tournament out in first. I think a 17-point lead is what they came into this game with, so as long as they don't go empty-handed, that should be okay for them.
As an experienced coach, player, legend, analyst, like you come into a game like this and you're on the kind of precipice to get to a 8th place. What's the kind of thought process that you'd be sort of speaking to a team? Or is it really dependent on the team? Would you be asking a team to maybe make the push, get for the kills, or is it a try and get to the end game, try and get the placement points under your belt, and the kills will follow?
So this is a bit different because it's last game. Generally, you can't. I don't think you can generally decide very much if you're gonna get kills or placement, right? You just gotta sort of play with what the game's given you. But in that last game, in a lobby like this, you'll have a few teams that have already kind of given up, or maybe they're playing for a loot spot instead of for a good game 8, you know, like a hop up in the last game to maybe push the team out of position. You'll generally have people die earlier in the last game. You'll generally have less players around, so it's much easier to get yourself into good late game positions than it is in any other game of the tournament. So I generally say, play it slow, take your time, and if you can third party a team that's close to you on the leaderboard, if you can make sure to cut out one of your competitors, that's where you get really aggressive. Yeah.
I think that's where the switch comes in. The teams that do that really well can kind of blow hot and cold. They can go very aggressive quickly. I think it's all part and parcel of reading that kill feed in the top right hand corner and understanding where the teams drop, where they like to play, especially maybe under an element of pressure. 180 up, well, they didn't clash with Fairy Tail despite having the hot drop 2 days in. This one has not unfolded as we did the other day. I still think that's part of that sort of TPP game style. I still think we're going to see a lot more open-ended battles, open field battles, or people getting caught trying to push compounds compared to hot drops. But I am keen to see how that kind of unfolds in the year, because I could be so wrong. This might just be the first event where these, for this year, where these teams in TPP are sort of figuring it out.
100%. The meta is not established yet. Nobody really knows. And we saw that. I think the Tego match was really interesting for me. The FaZe trying to hold out BB, and BB just blowing up every corner with the util. They didn't know where FaZe was playing, but it didn't matter. They still caught 2 of them with the util, because they were just using it in absolute abundance. And that's something that you're just not really used to in first person. We saw it with Bushido as well, the team that we have on our screens right now, in that Miramar game, playing quite obvious third person positions and getting naded in there repeatedly. So stuff like that will get figured out more and more. The players will understand how to handle the different perspective. As yes, for anybody in chat that's still confused, this is a TPP event. We're not just spectating the players in third person all the time. This is a TPP event. Phase 2 comes in though, goes hard east, and goes into an area mark where almost none of our teams are. The right half of that circle, almost entirely empty.
Yeah, Bushido came from this way as well, so I think they're going to begin the cards pretty quick and rotate him back. But I've got to be cautious, because other teams like BB have come in that sort of north side, so just need to watch that compound. Bushido are going to clash heads. FaZe clashing heads. The Eternal Fire losing 1, so a little bit of a just desserts as they rotate past. I do think there is an element. I will defend chat a little bit. A lot of our FPP events, we do tend to spectate them in a TPP mode. But yes, Koa's right. This is a full TPP game, but it's worth noting the players can switch, guys, between FPP and TPP. So they have the best part of both worlds. As a spectator, if you're watching a player, for example, now, we can see instantly Pixel is in an FPP mode. He's now come back out. Obviously, just scoping his way in, and that draws him into that sort of FPP. But he's technically playing in sort of this TPP mode at the moment. So we get to see what he's seeing, which I think is real big bit of information for everyone watching, learning, and just trying to understand how some of these pro players kind of break down a TPP event.
Yep. It's cool to see when they switch to FPP. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. They're also still figuring that out, right? Because FPP has its advantages too. They're just a little less common in a lot of situations. I'm looking at that map, Mark, and I see a Ascend that's rezzing out there on farm. Not sure why. I think they ran each other over, and I see a GG coming on in. That southwestern side, that edge of the map, that's looking to get a little feisty here. Ascend was one of the teams that maybe had a chance at top 8. Now Rox is just all the way in between them. What has happened here?
I think they got caught in that rotation. Levante puts down Chris. Nades come back. Rockstoke down for 2, but 47 HP, needs to get some smoke out there. Goes his car. There's a little bit of movement, but he's got Kilikai behind him. Oh, he's in the flipped car. He's just hiding out in the backseat. He's just vibing. No way. He just run over the remaining 2. Is it a survival tactic? Surely the guy's going to pick up Kilikai though. Upside down. Don't move.
They have no idea.
Is he gonna nade it? God, nade it. Where did this nade come from? Surprise! Kadoosh! Oh, he got a nade! Oh my god! What a nade! Unlucky though for him. He went down. Dante's reaction speeds were insane, and no one else was there. But GG's. Keelia,
Oh my!
you are a legend. What a go! You should have jumped on the other side of the car.
I've seen this multiple times actually in the last few weeks where players jump out of the wrong side of the car when it's upside down because they're so used to jumping out of the correct side of the car. You know, they intuitively know where to go and press the buttons, but then the car's on the other side. And aye. Nice try from Keely. Goes for a bit of a flashy play. But 2 knocks is all she wrote. The nade was perfect. The nade got the double instantly. But Dante quick on the trigger there. Puts him down just like that. Phase 3 shifted on in. Few players out of the lobby now. A doozy once again getting into it. As VP just sending it away.
I feel like every time a doozy tries to drive south, someone's there to divert his attention back. And he's sort of dancing around. If he's trying to catch, VP sending the cross zone. Actually going to get not freedom. Nixie's down, so they are 3. Take the compound just outside Hall of Fame. Bushido have sort of hunkered down. And here comes again the more of a migration from this sort of west side here. Carl's going to go. Twisted Minds on the foot. And Eternal Fire. Well, there's a kill confirm and catch Max out. He tries to rotate past.
Flash confirmed with the bolts. That's what they're very useful for. 1 tap out of the lobby. Project Extreme not finding their foot in, and now they find themselves not only close to Fairy Tale, but also close to Example on the southwest there. Not a name you want to have anywhere close to you. They will see what they get away with. Dip's already taken by the dodge as well. They themselves would need a really solid game to break into that top 8, but still entirely doable. 4-man strong, north side of the circle. They still have a lot of cards to play.
And Dodge, even on day number 1, really good at finding themselves end zone, kind of that phase 3, phase 4, sort of ascend into a zone, hold out, not huge amounts of kills, right? But they're a team that got an arguably a good number of placement points. Not really felt them today in the late game, so they've been unable to sort of punch a hole through the defensive line of these teams into a compound, into the center. They find themselves now on the outside. BB team have been climbing the leaderboard today. Find themselves in fifth position. Good amount of control in this north as well. I think their focal point now will be these teams that remain in the north, the 180 yards, maybe Dodge. They might rotate their way.
Game's actually slowing down a little bit now after a very explosive bit there towards the southwest, and a few frags being picked up here or there. Actually slowed down a bit. GG. They have recovered of what Kiliakai was doing to them. The car took a lot of damage though, Mark. As you can see, that is well smoking.
Look at that nade. Oh, great nade from him.
If he doesn't connect the headshot, then they're both flushed. Then Keely is instantly grabbing up those 2 points and saying goodbye.
Yeah, an extra 2 underneath the belt. Is it an argument to say he should have jumped maybe the other side of the car? I don't know. I think it was all explosive. Game number 8 antics. I
mean, you gotta respect the play as well. Sitting in the backseat of the flip car, you know, for a solid 30 seconds or so. He went for the big play. He went for the big play.
He could have stayed. He could have stayed there, right? He could have let him go,
and
he could have taken one of the remaining vehicles and off he went, right?
Yeah.
The fact that do you know what? He went, sod it, I'm going for it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Big respect.
Diffix finds an angle onto T-Bot. Takes him out. Foot again. A day to forget for them. They've gotten a few points in that game. 3, 0 points in the first 2. Daybuster has to be absolutely careful there. 1 HP. That's all he's got left. Will stay alive for now, but Foot is in trouble. Not a whole lot of manpower left either.
No. A couple of shots to Vix. Around the 5.56. Gonna swap over, but still then goes back and opts to go for the reload. Chrissy will now try and hold zone. Obviously shifting its way back towards the southwest corner, but Shelter is about half in, half out. So Geekame Kind of go underground to go find a few more bits and bobs, but they might find other players. 180 art wrapped the other way, but they find himself wrapping into the bowls of dodge. He's unable to dodge. Those 2 confirms on the board for them. It's 2 eager points for them. I just think they're a little bit too far out to be in a conversation for a top 8 at the moment. It does make for good gameplay.
Good last stand, you know. Once again, this is I've said this before. Some of these teams, they're getting into this lobby, and what they will get away with here is not a top 8, not prize money, but a lot of learning. It's a lot of ways to take something away from this tournament, because you are playing against some of the best in the world. Definitely the best in Europe, some of the best in the world. The Twisted Minds, you know. They're going to teach you some tricks by making you feel horrible about yourself for a few games. And there's a lot you can take away. Now, ADR, they get a little bit split on the approach here. It's just Akim who drives into Twist. The other 2 still stuck on the blue. It's not going to be their game either, unless they pull out some absolute miracle. Probably going to struggle to even get into the zone at all.
Fair tell. That team, that's what you said, on the precipice, aren't they? They need a good game. They need kills. Teams of Geek8 remaining in. Again, you've seen them on the kill feed already. FaZe, who have been chasing down, they have suffered a few blows. Fairy Tale trying to leave as 180 yard backfield them as well. He just picked him. I don't know if that was a misfire, but Fairy Tale now know they've got teams in front and, more importantly, teams behind.
There's a bloodbath. There's just BB and Twist. Both of these pinkish lobby logos. Just picking up every point that's left in the lobby. Now Conf hasn't had a lot of moments.
Oh,
what?
Great pre-fire. Oh, he gets a second.
God, I take it all back. That's his moment. Takes out the 1-2. Again, big teams in front of him holding him out, but that's a nice bunch of points he just got at.
Yeah. Not in the placement points though, but that shows that pre-fire that you can do with that sort of TPP mode. Able to just see a little sliver of that door as he comes through, already shooting as he whips out. What he needs now, 1 is meds, but 2, a knock from BB team and Twisted Minds, at least to draw Phil First's gun away from the compound, because he is very locked on and waiting for Fairy Tale to leave.
He is locked in. Twist now. Gotta figure out what they want to do with it. This is a breach, though. This is Na'Vi flying in. And this is the drive-by working out. It's tired. I said he hasn't really been pulling out wonders for Na'Vi just yet, but he gets a nice little drive-by there. Get themselves into the compound with speed. Fairest, not a lot of HP to work with. Still wants to let the util rip. They might have a very good idea of where the last few FaZe players are. You can see them sweeping the building. Clean pull-up from Na'Vi. Get themselves one of the best compounds left in the circle, and they're looking to come back strong into this last game.
Yep. PWD, hands up, trying to find his target. Gets him. There's another kill on the board. GK obviously are chasing down that 8th spot. Fairy Tale already out, so they'll be happy. 6 kills on the board will kind of be levitating them into a top 8 position if they can still hold. Na'Vi rolling their way around. Hadouken and Eternal Fire will fall. They do full ascend into this compound. Good take from them. They do take the compound away pretty strong. Bushido still on the defense, and I think all the action is happening in that sort of north west corner as the remaining couple of players, or remaining player from GG, is going to hold underground for phase number 5. Just in mind, they're going to annihilate BBT. It's going to be pretty clear now for them. A couple of scragglers remaining. Everyone else centered up in the compound and are holding it down.
Few frags though, coming the way of VP, taking out 2 of Twist, so making sure that the big bully of the lobby gets stopped at least a little bit. Luca stuck against the blue though, full team ahead of him. Not really a whole lot of ways to get past that. Example sends it into the dip. 6 team alive. A lot of big fraggers on the north, Twist, and to some extent VP, have been severely damaged. And a lot of the big teams now, GK, Na'Vi, Bushido, they're sitting pretty.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, well, with the 8 kills, GK just needs to confirm out. I don't think Fairytale really got enough, so I think Geeko are going to kind of leapfrog ahead now. This Fairytale might just fall short of the top 8 conversation. For Esports, we've got a few more adjacent kills on the board as well, but with FaZe Clan out, Project X out, Bushido coming into this game with 23 points. They need a huge game. The problem they've got though, Cole, is they've been sitting pretty much centralized up for quite some time.
Yeah.
And no one's really made the aggressive push like we saw with Na'Vi taking on FaZe. No one's made the push to this compound, so they've been kind of left to their own.
Not looking good for Bushido points-wise. That should be impossible, unless they maybe just wipe the entirety of the server right now, but they should have an idea as well that they do need points, right? They should have an idea. The gap was massive. The gap was a 20-point gap to Fairytale. So winning the game with 10 kills, you know, that is getting you close, but they would have to literally kill everybody that's left right now, and they haven't really started just yet, so not looking good for them. GK, on the other hand, they're doing what I thought would be not impossible, but quite hard to pull off. They're closing the gap, and they're looking for that 8th place spot. They're looking to qualify to the Super Cup. Yep.
Love how they're playing. Playing Open Train. I can remember as well, it's the first TPP event we've had in a while. So, see, still relearning, still readapting. It's going back to the OG style. And Geeko are playing really Open Train. An area sometimes you can get away with in FPP, but at the moment, I don't think all eyes are on that sort of south or east corner at the moment. I think it's compound to compound, and more importantly, hearing the cars move, an example, might be drawing the line of sight. And it does come from Na'Vi. Twisted Minds, well, they'll fall in 5th place. We do go for our top 4. It is a 4 versus 4 versus 4 versus a solo artist shelter. Don't sort of drop the ball when it comes down to gaming gladiators. He might come out there swinging.
Good bunch of smoke still for GK. Should have whatever it takes to move themselves into the circle. The only problem I see for them is, well, the one you talked about, Dante, in their back lines. And then the next problem is players like Hakatori staring them down with DMRs. That's just not something you enjoy. That's not something you take lightly. The man's an absolute animal. Probably one of the best mechanically in the region right after example. Lots of util as well for Bushido. Lots of util for Na'Vi. All of these teams have a lot of tools still. Interesting to see Saucet and Stide carrying the entirety of smokes for Na'Vi.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing necessarily though, because you can orchestrate an entire smoke line, and it's much easier if you don't have to collaborate for it, right? It's much easier if one player can just put down all of the smokes, fill all the gaps, and everybody else worries about playing their own game.
I'm surprised though the other two, Ferris and Hakatori, haven't filled up with heavier util, nades, blue zone. Maybe they've just not had it on the players, the bodies that they've crashed in on. Let's get caught on the off angle. It's one of the downsides though with TPP. You might think you're safe from one side, but with these buildings and multiple windows, especially in the corner, you do get caught. Hakatori just double checking back. It's great use of the train for Bushido. Unfortunately, one of them getting caught. I do need to make that links effective, and he does. Does catch Ferris off the roof. That's going to give a bit of a breathing room for Na'Vi. They're going to have to get their res, but let's get the breathing room back to Bushido as well, as they need to get their res back on, as they have lost the zone.
Yeah, they got to start making the moves. They're not fully out. Yes, the building is out, but both the inside wall and the outside wall where you see Celtic playing around is still in, so still entirely possible for them to just wait around another zone, stay alive, especially with Iroh getting them the opener. Dante's on the run. He's out of first aids, no blue healing no more, and he's trying to get behind Na'Vi.
Oh my god.
He's gotta keep moving. Spyro seems to be looking for him a little bit. Seems to be quite aware that this could be a thing. He was looking far, far south on that map. If you saw the minimap, seems to have been scanning the area, and yes, they've seen him. They know. They don't forget about Dante. They take him out. 9 frags for GK. 3 placement points already. They are looking good to make it into Super Cup.
Yep. He might have just secured that spot. It's a good play from them. That actually saves Na'Vi. I don't think Na'Vi picked up that rotation out from Dante, from GG. There's a knock. Can they make a crash? Don't think so. And the argument is, do they need to? They hold an element of zone. They hold this little dip where they can play from. Need to ensure maybe don't get wrapped on that sort of east side. That Bushido get held at bay because Bushido, again, have the ability to kind of move on. Use the blue zone where possible. Just got to maybe get another knock. Maybe reset Na'Vi. But the zone shift, it shifts away from all teams. It's fair battleground now. Final game. One more zone to go after this one. And everybody's out. Everybody now needs to move on in.
Everybody's got to move. Navi's got to move very, very little, but they still get stared down by Iroh with that Lynx. He's putting out the damage. He's putting out the pain. Bushido, the team that definitely drew the shortest straw here when it comes to late game circles. Early game circles, they've got them all, but now that move is all but impossible. Oh me, oh my. Not looking good for them. Few more seconds till someone starts closing on in. They're not looking like they have a plan just yet. They're not looking like they have a play. They gotta start smoking. They gotta start pushing. They gotta start doing something here, Bushido. Na'Vi wants to go south. This seems very clear. Where Bushido goes, I'm not so sure.
Do they know about Spyro? That's the biggest question. I don't know with Na'Vi, right? So they've smoked off. The tree will give Spyro an element of cover to a degree, but he needs to come off the high ground. Na'Vi takes some shots back. Oh my god, Zone catches him as he jumps the wrong way off the rock. They hold the anchor. Geekay get the confirm. Done and dusted, so waste not, want not when it comes down to kills with Geekay. And now they do push over. They've gone for a 2-2 split. Geekay get one. Na'Vi go for the other. Scrap that. It's scrap for two. And Na'Vi falling apart. I don't think they fully knew that they had Spyro lurking in the wings.
Spyro with a big, big double. Quizzy on the other side, unleashing onto Bushido. It's all kicking off at the same time. Everybody's trying to make the moves. Hakatori still has something to say about this. You see the DMR shots flying across. The nade's not bad, but it doesn't catch anyone just yet. 3 for Bushido. 3 for Geekay, and 2 for Na'Vi. Another bit of a breather, maybe a bit of a res coming through for Geekay as well, but that's a dicey one. Spyro makes it though, gets a chance to res Diffix back up, and I don't see a whole lot of smokes left for them, but they have a chance now. Quizzy caught though.
Quizzy does get caught. 3 versus 2 versus 2. 1 TBNO though on the lies, but the line is going forward. They're getting pushed out. Iroh's been caught on the outside. He gets caught by Hakatori as he puts him down. Meta based or driving forward. Everyone feels to be bedding down at the moment. Na'Vi full send, trying to take the amount of opportunity they can. Koho here, but there's only 2 of them remain, and they're dumping the U2 as much as they can towards Geekay, and that was close.
Ah, yeah. 3 alive still. Geekay though looking poised to take this. Should be absolutely doable for them, though. It's not only the AUG, though. It's still Celtic with the P90 as well. The second he stands up, he can absolutely unleash on this. The P90 is an absolute beast. Diffix, no HP to work with. Hakatori in the open. Bushido might take this.
Bushido might take this. They're having to lay low. He cut the shots though. He did cut off. He had 17 left. He could have caused some damage though. But PWD launches a nade. Metabay down. Celtic's gonna fall as well. Bushido swing the sword, but they fall short though. Na'Vi down to their final player. They are going to have to hold up, but Geekay is all lined up. Can they take it? The util dump will come out, Koho, but can Na'Vi get a 3 versus 1?
He's got a flash. He's trying to bounce it around. 2 players blind, 3 players blind.
Oh
now
my
he
God.
does make the move, but look at the blue zone. It's cutting him out completely. I don't even know if he has time to get their first aid off. They know he's at the tree now. Their util comes out. Their flash comes around. Diffix one side. More on the other. And Geekay with a dominant performance in the last game. That's qualification mark for sure.
Has to be. He had such an opportunity. That blue zone nade at the end, though, really put the brakes on. But I still feel you was right. I think Bushido might have thrown that away. They had the opportunity. They were able to crawl all the way towards the end. That P90 should have been more explosive, but they were unable to convert. And Geekay convert at the end. That should be securing them a top 8 position.
That should be the top 8. I don't think... Maybe if Na'Vi won the game, they could have won the tournament. but I think they must have fallen short there a little bit at the end as well. And then GK easily break into top 8 here. I don't think it was even close with the amount of kills that they were able to rack up throughout the entirety of that game, right? I think they started that late game with 8 and they kept on putting up more and more numbers, even catching Dante when he was creeping out. So should be good, but oh my. We're gonna have a look at the leaderboard when it's ready, guys. But we have just had another day, the second day ever of the PUBG Players Tour. What do you think, Mark?
Interesting. I'm going to say it's interesting. It's a gateway. I think there's a lot of learning to be done as we are dusting off the TPP dust, so to speak, as we kick off that 2025 season. Obviously, we have the invited teams. We had the teams that obviously made it here from qualification, and we'll reset that. But we'll remind you all after this, though, about the format. But it did feel explosive. I feel like we've got a couple of stars in the making. We've got the likes of Pixel, who is breaking down as many advantages that I think he can gather from a TPP format. I think it's maybe the best way. And yet we've still got things as explosive as glider versus glider kills. So it has been explosive. This best of 8 has been outstanding. I don't know what your thoughts are.
For me, the most interesting thing to see is who does well and who doesn't in these games. And today was a bit of a comeback of the top dogs, right? Today was a lot of twists, a lot of VP, a bit of Navi towards the end, but we still had a GK in there that kept it competitive, and we had Gaming Gladiators who were in second place until the very last game. So if they don't get caught, if they don't get decimated that early in this game, then maybe they are the ones that fight for the win here in the late game. So big names on both sides, big names on qualifying teams, and big performances from some of the partners like VP in this game especially, right? This one was a masterclass led by Nixie and Lucarux. I think Lucarux with 6, Nixie with 4. Just absolutely farming a lobby.
This is the biggest thing as well. Like, as much as FPP, very super competitive, right? I think the edge on the TPP, they are very different games. I feel like teamwork is even more critical. Yes, you can have individuals like that sort of like can shine, right? Both in FPP and TPP. But the ability to farm information, it feels like a team effort when it comes down to TPP. You've got to kind of all lock in, try and work on your angles, try and also gain the information and share it out. We've seen some teams do that really, really well. We see some teams fall short and miss a few times. Definitely felt like today, though, was VP. Felt like they were in the swing of things. They got a 16-kill game. Was just impressive. And even before that and even after that, VP was sort of always in the mix when it come down to kills, come down to rotation. And each map, I think, had its unique ability and its unique players really shining.
Yeah. Gotta give it up to a doozy. That's one of my highlights. You can tell production liked it as well. Bit of a rough one for Ascend today, not really able to get a whole lot going. That was one of the games that got stopped in their tracks, and then the last game, I don't even know who got the initial knock, because it looked like there was so much distance between GG and Ascend in that last game when Ascend was knocked, but maybe it was just a long-range knock. GG able to converge, even though Killer Kai is doing sneaky things. So few teams that you expect to perform in Eternal Fire as well, right? Not a name that we would expect at the bottom of the leaderboard, but this really wasn't their tournament.
No, it wasn't. Definitely, I think you summed it up really well, is that it felt like the OG names had a point to prove here on day number 2. That was a great bolty. Yeah. He definitely lined up. It was definitely the crosswinds that put him off. And again, you already mentioned several times, I just want to highlight again, the amount of util that is being used, it feels double, if not triple, than I've seen before. And I think the util's been having such more of a bigger impact than I've seen in other events as well. So I wouldn't be too surprised, as you said, on day number 1, that we're going to start cutting things like the amount of ammo that we're picking up, that more and more util will come into play.
I think so too. I think it's the util is finding a little bit more impact, like you said, and players will adapt to that for sure. Sometimes it's clearly like this. Sometimes it's just teams getting blown to bits by 4 to 5 nades, and then nice little lineup. Nice little lineup with the TPP crosshair, and then the peak comes on in, and this one's just a good reaction, right? This one's a good reaction flick. As yeah, gets himself a few more points. Not going to amount to a whole lot, but this is one of the teams that I wouldn't be surprised to see again next week. Fairy Tale. We'll talk about the format in a bit here as GK dominates the game. They're going to be in these scrims again. They're going to be in these scrims, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with again there. They were very consistent together with teams like GG, SlamG, right? A lot of these CIS squads just putting in the time, putting in the work, and shining in the scrims.
On the results, we could look at the results, but I think it's definitely worth reminding chat, how did we get here? What's the format? What do we have coming? Because this is a whole year. We go all the way through to, I pretty much think, September. We have dates in our diary. Well, we've already done week number 1 where we had the player scrims where you do best of 3 and you try and sign yourself up. You sign yourself up on Challenger mode. We'll get you some links in the chat. Get your team in. If you need to make sub, you need to make sub. That's okay. But it's all about ensuring that you get as many points for the week you can. If you get to the top of that leaderboard, guess what? You're a qualified team and you find yourself into the player cups where you will be joined by some of the invited teams. Now, that's where we are at the moment. We're in the player cups. It is a best of 8, and obviously it's split over 2 days. So we've done best of 4, best of 4. Surprise, surprise. We've got some cash prize to give out, and we've also got a top 8, which we will divulge in a second. That's going to transition across to Super Cup, where we're going to be playing the best of 12, and eventually there are 2, I believe, in the year where we eventually, of all of the Super Cups, the best of the best, we're making our way through for that 20k prize pool for the Master Cups or the PUBG Player Masters. Now, for everyone out in chat, it's your time now. Once the stream ends, you are going to go onto Challenger mode. You are going to sign up and put a team in for week number 2, because it is kicking off next week, where you'll have a chance on that bottom line to compete in that best of 3 over 4 days, get points on the board, and myself and Cohen will see you next week in the Players Cup. I like it. I do really like this format. I love the fact that you guys can get involved. I think there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to still learn with TPP as well. Obviously, you want to find yourself in the cash prize now, but more importantly is that top 8, because you're going to get more opportunities to make money on the next stage.
We have a top 8. We have the information for you who's going to advance from today and Monday. And it's obviously VP and Navi. It's obviously Twist and GG. But it is GK who sneaked themselves in there, Mark. But it's looking like Fairy Tale is not the one dropping out.
Are we sure? I was going to say that to production very quickly. Geek obviously did smash it as they obviously worked their way completely through. And that last game really did show what they needed to have. But I definitely feel like VP was the day of the shine, right? They did a thing, and yeah, my maths. I told you my maths were right. I told you my maths were right. It's definitely my fault. Foot Esports are in 8th place. Okay, 8th place there.
I was getting a little confused there. I thought, no way they got more than 5
feel like
points.
you bribed production. Fairy Tale the ones to get through, lads. They're there to get through. No, I was with T-Bone today. He's through to get a buffer. So there's our top 8. That's our fault. Blame Koho. So there's our top 8 teams. These guys are going to be going through now to the next stage. They're going through to the Super, and obviously the Super Cup. And obviously they'll be competing their way out. Obviously VP completely stormed it as well. We get to transition now across to that leaderboard. The 81 points, that is impressive. And a lot of that came from today.
A lot of that came from today. The leaderboard was very even towards the top, right? When we came into the day, Navi first, and then a lot of teams incredibly close. VP separating themselves from the pack. They win the tournament, and they win the majority of the prize pool. $400 for the first place, then Navi $300 in second, third is $200, and fourth is $100. For some of these guys, you know, that's pocket change, but getting to the bigger cups is what really gets you into the bigger prize pools. $5,000, $20,000 up for grabs, depending on where you're playing. And Foot Esports is going to be happy that despite having to play with a sub and having an awful day with it, they are still in that top 8.
They are. And look, look, it's $1,000 up for prize on this section, the cup, right? But you got to remember, these are additional events, Kara. So this is additional opportunities for players to make more money. Now, obviously, the pros, they practice, they got loads of events, they got loads of opportunity. But also, as we said before, people are coming into this, though. They have the opportunity to qualify. They have the opportunity to show us what they've got here. And more importantly, as a prize result, if they get in that top 4 position on the cup stage, they will be finding themselves with some money. So I like it. It's an additional these additional opportunities for these players to make money throughout the year. So I am excited for this one. But obviously that does come to a close when it comes down to the first week KO. But again, let's remind everyone what we've got coming up.
First week, first iteration. There's more to come next week. Like we said plenty of times, there's a link on top of chat. If you want to play, you can sign up for the scrims. 31st of March to the 3rd of April. Yeah, not good with dates, but I got this one down. And then we'll see you guys on the weekend. If you do well in the scrims, we'll see you on the weekend. We'll see some of these regional partners as well, some of the global partners showing up again. Maybe VP can take another one. Maybe someone can challenge them. I think GKGG, they definitely made it interesting. They made it close. And yeah, I've had a blast, Mark. Thanks for being here with me. And we will see you guys next week.